What is up, RotoGrinders? Welcome to Week 11 NFL Pick 6 show. Two of the absolute best in business. John Daigle, ETR, Establish the Run, Rich Hribar, Sharp Football Analysis. Going to be talking a little bit of Frankenstein later on the show. Looking forward to that. But before that, we'll be loading up with probably 90 minutes, give or take, of NFL DFS content. Kind of a first look on a Wednesday night. 11-gamer this week. Just two teams on bye. That's the Saints and the Colts. But we have another Sunday morning game out there in Europe. It's Washington taking on the Dolphins. Mike McDaniel may or may not stop by the Elbow Room on his way to Spain.
Good for Mike McDaniel.
What's that?
Good for Mike.
Love it. I love it. Yeah. And was that real or was that not real? I saw maybe that was AI. Maybe it wasn't AI.
Listen, man, it's on the internet. Nothing's real.
I want it to be
real. Are we real? Is any of this real?
Is that you, Rich? Am I actually talking to Rich? I think I am. 11 games, 7 early, 4 late. Going to focus on the 3 main games. We're going to run it back and talk about our favorite plays position by position. Rich, how are things? Welcome to week 11. We're halfway home, a little bit more, depending on if you factor in the playoffs or not.
Yeah, we are, man. It's mid-November. We're closing in. The extra game got me this week. I'm still not even done. I have Monday Night Football to write up, but everything else is finished to this point. But I felt it started to feel it a little bit this week.
Monday Night Football is going to be a fun one. Dallas and Vegas. You got a good one waiting for you. Unfortunately, no Detroit and Philly on the main slate. That should be a fun one as well. That's for your show.
You got to make up for last week's primetime games. Tomorrow's isn't a great start, but we'll try to figure it out.
I was thinking about that too. The Monday Night Football was scoreless at half. Didn't Pittsburgh play at Sunday night?
Pittsburgh Chargers. That was like an okay game. Like
one side.
It was one side. Yeah, Chargers were fine. And then the Thursday game was that Broncos Raiders game, which was a travesty.
The bar is lowered for Jets Pats, and you know what? The Jets are like, "Hey, we see you and we raise you, or we lower you, depending on."
People get to watch Drake May. That's what matters.
The worst part about those Thursday and Monday night games is that it was not good defense either. It was just horrific offense from all 4 teams.
The Patriots, I believe, are 13.5-point favorites on Thursday, and I think the Jets are resting a bunch of dudes. But yeah, whatever. It's going to be a big old mess. We don't have to talk about it. We're talking about the main slate. Daigle, how are things? How was week 10? You want to give is there any sort of recap that's for the people? The people like a recap sometimes.
I personally got my ass kicked, but that's okay because builds lent themselves to a lot of 2 tight ends by the time we all checked back in Sunday morning. I believe Trey McBride and Kate Otten were mostly in builds, but it all revolved around the Bucs and Patriots. I saw the Millie Maker had Drake May and a spin down wide receiver, not even Kyle Williams. He played Demario Douglas, oddly enough. But because the Bucs are so concentrated, and I'm sure we'll talk about here at the top too, that he just ran back from Drake May, all 3 Bucs receivers, because they only have 3 guys getting the ball, and Tez Johnson, Emeka Egbuka, and Kate Otten. So you could also have played Baker Mayfield with, Kyle Williams coming back as a cheap pivot. So just something to continue learning and building on as we move forward.
Rich, anything you want to say as far as week 10? Anything worth acknowledging?
No, it was great, man. Lions onslaughts were king still. We got that money back from the week before on the Lions onslaughts, and the Davis Mills got there, so it was fun.
Davis Mills did get there.
The only thing that didn't deserve to happen was the Parker Washington Jaguars double dip. No,
I love the double dip. I was so tilting that the Jags were like my one big.
Watch your damn mouth.
I think TJ was in the double dip there.
He was. It never works, and it finally worked.
I got to confess, I didn't know Parker Washington was the return man.
I didn't either. I had no idea.
Oh, he already had a punt return this year. That was a second.
Didn't know that.
Against 49ers.
The Jaguars were guaranteed to score anyways because they were the cash game defense, and the cash game defense is that reason because the projections have just gotten better. And so I went out to watch the Aggies game Saturday afternoon with a couple friends, and I even told them, like, just wait, tomorrow the $2,600 Jags are going to piss you off. Like, you are not going to beat the Jaguars.
I would just give a shout out to Houston on the other side with the walk-off pick 6, which I had a lineup that almost got there. It was very, very close. And I'll tell you, the one thing that could have put me over the top is if Detroit, they always go for the throat. They always sweep the leg. They never show mercy. And they showed mercy. They pulled their guys with like 7 minutes to go. So I'm a little bit upset, but it was a great week. Good week for your boy. Let's see if we can continue that momentum as far as week 11. First of the 3 games we're going to talk about, it is, well, it's the Bengals and Pittsburgh, right back to Pittsburgh. They were so much fun last week. The Bengals, the fantasy carnival. Joe Burrow not back just yet, but rumors, I guess possibly if they start winning some games, you might see Joe Burrow. I did pick him up in my season-long league. I know that people really care about that. We're struggling with quarterbacks, so we'll sit him in the
Bengals Dolphins week 16 is going to support a lot of Christmas is going to be supported that week.
Is that like main slate or is that Christmas?
I have no idea. I just know it's week 16 or 7. I think it's week 16.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That'll be that's definitely something to look forward to. Yeah. So the Bengals at Pittsburgh minus 5.5, home 49.5 points as far as the total, one of the biggest totals on the board, Daigle. I assume we're a little bit more interested in the Bengals side, although I do see Jaylen Warren is popping pretty hard.
The side note, as y'all mentioned, the Bengals feeding everyone. Thanksgiving slate also here in a couple of weeks. Chiefs at the Cowboys and Bengals against the Ravens. It's going to be a high-scoring, fun slate. The Packers may not help out there, but Packers and Lions also to start the day. Anyways, though, yes, Jaylen Warren returning to chalk and zooming out. We're coming off of that Sunday night horrific performance from Aaron Rodgers in the passing game. And it's been back-to-back weeks now where Aaron Rodgers struggled to get there at all. 12 fantasy points and 6.5 against the Chargers on Sunday night in his last 2 starts. But then Monday morning, I start gathering everything and I check in and the Steelers had the highest team total of any offense on this slate. And I was like, oh yeah, I forget. Like we can't ignore the Steelers just yet. We can't just say Aaron Rodgers is fading at the end of his career because they get the Bengals. We saw this game a month ago where the Bengals didn't have Trey Hendrickson in that matchup either. Aaron Rodgers passed for 4 touchdowns. Only Tua is getting rid of the ball quicker than Rodgers so far this year. And again, this is a defense with the Bengals that are 26th in pressure rate. We're not expecting them to get there and give Rodgers time. So I do think Rodgers is spin down quarterback, and there are a couple of those we'll talk about at the end of the show. But I think Rodgers is very live just across from the Bengals. It's a little bit tougher as they continue using a lot of players, unlike the Bucs that we talked about, are so condensed. The Steelers are still running out 3 to 4 tight ends each week here. Cam Hayward even being used like at the goal line, which is also frustrating. But if you are to get here to double stacks, I do think it's going to be DK Metcalf, obviously, and then Calvin Austin. Since Calvin Austin returned from injury, he does have one more target than Metcalf in that time. Metcalf has, though, soaked up 4 of their 6 end zone targets. So those are my 2 favorite picks if you were to play Aaron Rodgers. But again, that's also probably leverage from or with Jaylen Warren, who, as you mentioned, is popping as, again, a cash game running back.
I ran it again, and he's projecting well, but not as hard as I thought it was, as I saw earlier in the day.
Because right now, the values are at wide receiver, and this, again, Wednesday, it's going to open up more, but the values right now are all injury wide receiver replacements, whereas running backs, we don't really have much. The spend downs right now are all committee guys.
Yeah, so we're expecting Pirine out. He's not officially out, but I think we're projecting him out, which is making Brown really pop. And
yeah,
I think that's, Brown's going to look spectacular if Pirine's out because the backfield will be essentially completely his. Rich, does that sound about right?
Yeah, I mean, he played 91% of the snaps. It was basically just like he was back to last year's role, like where we left off with him last year, where you might not get many, a lot of efficiency, but he's just going to be on the field a lot and, accrue a lot of touches. Like he had 14 targets in that game in week 9.
That seems like a lot for a running back. I mean, we've missed that. We haven't seen that guy basically all season long, it feels like.
Yep.
But that's the case or anywhere near the case, then he's super underpriced, obviously. I was thinking this might be the oldest, 2 quarterbacks, but then I was like, oh, yeah, Tom Brady played. There was like
4. We had Brady, right?
It's got to be Brady and somebody because this is 81 combined. It's got to be Brady and somebody.
It was probably Brady and Rodgers.
Yeah, maybe it was Brady and Rodgers. I don't. How old was George Blanda when he retired? Anybody have the?
Whereas did Vinny Testaverde play against anybody old enough?
What are your thoughts as far as Pittsburgh, Rich? I can't. I know it's the Bengals, I don't know if I could play Aaron Rodgers as like my lead quarterback. I get it.
Oh, not lead quarterback, but he's absolutely. I think he should be in the tournament pool because it is the Bengals. I don't want to ignore him. Understanding the Bengals and Cowboys, we talk about this every week. It's the difference between Texas brisket and brisket anywhere else in the world. Like there are tiers here where the Bengals and Cowboys do not matter. Like they are barely trying on defense. They elevate everyone.
What's the best place for brisket in Texas? Is that the place in Austin everybody talks about?
It's Franklin's. I mean, Franklin's good, but Franklin's also about the experience, like Al Cheval in Chicago. As everyone tunes in for football, they're about to get a food spiel really quick. You go to Al Cheval in Chicago for the burger, but you put your name in and they'll tell you 3 or 4 hour wait. I know that sounds unappealing, but then they just text you. So you don't have to wait there. So you get to walk the entire West Loop and see everything, do everything, even eat like you're a Spaniard, eat before you eat. And then you get the text, you're at some random bar that your burger, you can now go pick it up. It's wonderful. So Al Cheval experience is like Franklin's, where Franklin's opens their doors at 11 and it's first come, first serve. When they run out, they're closed. And so everyone usually gets there around 5:30. They were smart. They opened their own breakfast taco and coffee cart right outside in the parking lot. And we'll sit there playing dominoes and poker beginning at 5:30 in the morning, just tailgating the brisket.
That's amazing. And then the locals go there, or is that a tourist thing?
I think it's both, but if you are local, you understand you are waiting 5 to 6 hours. You're not going to do that every weekend. So a lot of people instead choose Terry Black's, which is also incredible, and like probably 10% of the wait.
Rich, you typically play like 4, maybe 5 quarterbacks, kind of whittle it down. Do you think Aaron Rodgers will be in your pool?
No, unfortunately not. But I could see the argument for him. Like if you're in a managed league or you're 2QB, like I get the appeal for him this week. The Bengals have allowed 77 more points than their implied opponent's total coming into the game. That's the most in the NFL. The Cowboys are next. They're at 53.5. So they've allowed 24 more points in 8 straight games. It's the longest active streak in the league. That's the longest streak in their franchise history since 1998, 1999 seasons combined. So yeah, everyone's kind of getting there. I probably will lock button Jaylen Warren. I might 100% him in this. He's completely taken over the backfield. 80% of the backfield touches. The Bengals, I mean, we were 2 weeks removed for Kyle Monangai going for 180 yards against the Bengals. Like, I mean, this is the Bengals rundown real quick, and I'll try to make this as quick as possible. In week 1, they gave up 100 yards and 2 touchdowns to the 1 touchdown to the Browns running backs, then 176 yards and 2 touchdowns to the Jaguars running backs, 185 yards and 2 touchdowns to the Minnesota running backs, 218-1 to the Denver running backs, 158-2 to the Detroit running backs, 158-2 to Green Bay running backs, 173 yards from scrimmage to these Pittsburgh running backs, 265 yards to the Jets running backs, and 235 yards and a touchdown to the Bears running backs. Even Britton Brown had a touchdown, 40 yards and a touchdown agaund them. So
he's AI. I don't think he's real. Is that
Jaylen Warren rushed for 8 yards per carry the last time these teams met, a season high 126 yards. He had a 56% success rate that night. He had 4 runs of double-digit yardage. Every single run he had gained yardage that night. So they're at home. They're favored. It's like an ideal spot, I think, to go ahead and play him. The Bengals actually do have one good defensive player, and it's DJ Turner. Wide receivers only have 34% of the fantasy points allowed by the Bengals. It's by far the lowest in the NFL. They do have some production to running backs and tight ends, which is kind of lean into that, but they've only allowed 100-yard wide receiver all season. DJ Turner has allowed the second lowest catch rate in his coverage this season, only Quinyon Mitchell the best. He's only been targeted once every 18 snaps. That's the 6th highest rate in the NFL. When these teams met the first time, DK Metcalf was erased, 5 targets. Nobody, like we just did the 0 for Rome Odunze 2 weeks ago, right? Like wide receiver ones just don't do anything against the Bengals. So they're kind of tricky. You got to do the kind of the whack-a-mole game with the tight ends. I do have kind of a dark horse favorite. I know you'd be like, we can't pick them, but I actually like Darnell Washington the most of these guys. And for the reason is because of Jaylen Warren. I actually believe this is a running script for the Steelers. And his 3 highest snap counts this season, Darnell Washington's, have come in wins. His 2 highest receiving yardage totals have come in home wins at Pittsburgh. So while they're running the football, he's going to be on the field more too. So he'd be like a complete punt, just like kind of a one-off play. But yeah, those are my favorite guys from the Steelers.
Will Joe Flacco be one of your 4 or 5 quarterbacks? Yeah.
I mean, this would be the spot like where like Vegas is telling us like it's got to slow down, right? Like they're finally on the road. Flacco's last 3 starts were at home. They're at Pittsburgh, like Pittsburgh in November. Like that field is always crappy at this time of the year. But like the Bengals only have one way to play, right? Like the defense is terrible. They're going to drop back and throw. Like it's just one of these things. Like there's only one style to play here, and the Steelers defense kind of still showed like they're not quite over the hump yet, and they had a bunch of injuries too. You know, Darius Slay's in concussion protocol. So if Slay's out, and Slay's been bad anyways. They'll have to rely on Brandon Eccles and James Pierre. Brandon Eccles got immediately toasted when he came onto the field on Sunday night by Ladd McConkey. They did assign Asante Samuel. We'll see if he's up after having that back surgery. But like, it's just the Bengals only have one style of football to play, right? So it's like they're going to be giving up points and they're going to be dropping back and throwing the football a ton.
Is that the oldest defense in football? You just ran up a bunch of old dudes there for Pittsburgh.
It is, man. That's one of them.
It's got
them or Washington. Washington signed all those old guys, and it turns out they're all slow or they all got hurt.
You're talking about Debo?
Well, on defense, like Bobby Wagner, Marshawn Lattimore, like all those dudes.
Yeah. Daigle, your thoughts as far as the Bengals?
Yeah, it's pretty much what Rich alluded to earlier, where Chase Brown is also very live, especially without Samaje Perine. This past game, even 8 targets the last time we saw them, just soaked it all up. And the last time he played the Steelers, not sustainable, did have a career high in yards per carry, but at the same time, if we're expecting to get any touch, you can play it multiple ways. I don't want to get too cute or off the board. Like we saw Tanner Hudson somewhat play more than or earn more targets on his routes as Tanner Hudson tends to do. We saw Andre Yoshivas pop up against the Bears, but at the same time, again, you're just chasing like the 68% of the targets that T. Higgins, Jamar Chase have soaked up since Joe Flacco joined under center. There's just lots of pieces you can play here. I already talked about it, but I do think Calvin Austin is a legitimate, cheapie to run back too. Just a matter of how you play the running backs and whatnot.
Is he going to be popular? I'm trying to see with Calvin Austin. Is he going to be kind of like this?
Maybe because he's cheap and plays against the Bengals. He might catch some ownership just in being in the game stack.
Yeah,
but I said that about Kyle Williams last week too, and he closed at like 2 to 4%. No one really got there at all.
I was surprised. We talked about Kyle Williams in the show. You guys talked about him, and that one play was all you needed. Obviously, a 3K stone min.
Yeah.
I thought he was going to be because the cap was pretty tight. And there wasn't a lot of places to loosen stuff up that happened throughout the week. And we'll see. Stay tuned as far as this week. And that's one of those things where you don't really know when we're having this conversation. But a 4K player playing against Cincinnati receiver could be certainly very useful come Sunday. Your take as far as the Bengals, Daigle?
Yeah, I mean, I pretty much just hit on it all. I have no like coverage takes or anything. We know exactly what the Steelers are allowing to opposing passing games. We know where the ball goes. It really just comes down to, can you afford T. Higgins and Jamar Chase with Joe Flacco and then Jaylen Warren? I would imagine that's where the ownership goes in that type of stack as well. And so I don't know. I genuinely like all of the directions, all of them. I like all the pieces here. And I don't know how I'm going to play it just yet.
I like it too, but I feel like I'm probably going to have a piece of this game in probably every single lineup. It was just like a one-off, even just like a random Warren or a random Brown or something like that. I feel like this game is going to be pretty interesting from a DFS perspective. Okay. Game 2. Anything else, boys? Moving on.
All the place.
All right. Game number 2 for us. Tampa at Buffalo. Buffalo's a 5.5-point favorite coming off the embarrassing loss to Miami. 47.5 is the total. I should note Wednesday night, grain of salt, but I did see Roth. He has Baltimore, Cleveland, Orange, chief mineralogist Kevin Roth. This page is free, by the way, just if you can just like search for it or go on RG for it. But Tampa Buffalo is yellow orange. Cold rain looks fairly likely during the game. Just kind of, he'll give it an update later, but just, nothing to freak out about. Just put that in your back pocket.
And cold rain's the worst,
You're saying to actually, as far as like,
it's the worst. It's the worst to play football in. Like you just wish it would snow. Like you wish it would just turn to snow when it's like cold and raining. Like it's that 40-degree rain.
Isn't wind the worst though? Wind. I mean, as far as like, well, You're saying the feel when you're actually.
Yeah, the feel. Like you just wish it would snow. Like you're just getting soaked and you wish it would snow.
I could see that. Or just like being in the stands. A cold rain would be absolutely miserable for sure.
I used to wear like doctor medicinal gloves under my receiver gloves, like to keep the trap all the heat.
Did it work?
Yeah, I used to look like you took a 2-hour bath afterwards.
Were you a slot guy?
Why? Because I'm white?
No, I don't know how tall you are. Forget how tall you are. I feel like slot guys are shorter. I mean, you're an exerciser? I don't know. But, all right. Yeah, talk to me about you can lead this one, Rich, as far as game 2. Tampa and Buffalo. What do you got?
Yeah, Tampa is really struggling right now. They're really struggling to score points. They keep putting themselves in holes to start these games. They are now 21st in the league in rate of snaps led. That's the second lowest rate for a team with a winning record. Only the 49ers have led for a lower rate of snaps. They can't score in any drives in the first half. They are 23rd in points per drive since week 6. They keep just putting themselves in binds, and they're on the road against the Buffalo team that just lost. It's not good. It's not good here. Baker Mayfield sucked out some fantasy points last week, but he's been objectively pretty bad for a month running. He's now 21st in completion rate, 19th in yards per pass attempt. He doesn't have a rushing attempt in his past 3 games since he picked up the oblique injury. So not that great either. We know where the ball's going. We've got some favorable spots for Emeka Egbuka, I think. Buffalo's 31st in receiving points allowed a game to wide receiver ones, but the rest of the guys don't really have favorable matchups at all. I mean, Tez Johnson's running a lot of routes, but he hasn't gone over 42 yards yet. Like he's really leaning on just sucking out these touchdowns.
Yep.
This feels like a spot where Tampa Bay gets destroyed, to be honest.
Angry Buffalo. The Bills are upset. They're mad. They're going to take out their anger on Tampa. 5.5. So you're saying lay the 5.5, lay the points, Rich?
I know this team just lost to Miami, but the Bucs are a team that I genuinely think like if they weren't in the NFC South, like they'd be in huge trouble right now.
They also lost to Miami, like following their Super Bowl. Like they got it all out against the Chiefs, so we should have expected a little bit of letdown. Maybe not a beatdown like that happened, but yeah, they're an interesting team.
What is your preferred side here, Daigle? You pick Tampa Bay and Buffalo. Buffalo's always tough to figure out as far as stacking because Josh Allen is like nobody to throw the ball to. He lost Kincaid. I guess a cheap Knox, if that does something for you. If we're desperate for salary, you could always play Cook. Doesn't really catch the ball, but can run for 150. And good luck picking amongst his receivers, but you can always play Allen a la carte. You can always play him naked. Your preferred side of this game, Tampa and Buffalo, is what?
So the way you beat the Bills, which Rich has already discussed a little bit, is by running on the ground. That's kind of why Tampa's a nightmare in this spot. Not only are they second in terms of everyone has their own tools they use, but second in terms of if you look at what defenses typically allow in fantasy points to tight ends. So the Bills are the second lowest, I should be saying. I think I said a lot to say something easy. They're really good against tight ends, by the way. But the way you beat them is on the ground. However, with Bucky Irving being AI, we don't even know if that was really him back at practice today. I'm not convinced until I actually see him play. Not to mention they're running this committee now where it's Sean Tucker, who's barely getting out carried by Rashad White. Rashad White still running significantly more routes. It's 2 running backs against this Bills defense. That's how the Dolphins beat them, was not through the passing game, as we've talked about consistently. Bills are still playing great passing defense, but you can slice them up as their top 4 in 5, 10, 20-yard rate of 20-yard runs allowed to opposing running backs. You just can't play White and Tucker together, I don't believe, or pick one of them on this slate. So it really just comes down to the Bills side, and I think it's then just Josh Allen or James Cook. And given the Bucs defense and still being one that doesn't allow yards after contact, I do wonder what the ownership for James Cook will come in, because I can't imagine it's much after a letdown game and the matchup where on paper it's not good. But again, he has multiple touchdowns in his range of outcomes. So maybe you suck it up and say, I'm going to play low-owned James Cook if I have the salary here.
We currently have it at 10% for what it's worth.
He's expensive.
10%. Let's see. 10% on DK. I'll check and see if there's anything different there on FanDuel. Let's see. FanDuel 5%. He's 8-9 on FanDuel. So I guess he's kind of built for FanDuel though, because he doesn't catch the ball. So like, as far as ideally, if that you prefer your running backs don't catch the ball, you prefer him on FanDuel in a vacuum.
Somehow he turned into old Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah, and new Jonathan Taylor is absolutely insane. He needs a rest because, good Lord, another walk-off touchdown. Was it 2 or 3 again? 200 plus yards in Germany. Just
it was. And normal people don't wake up for that stuff. They sleep through it. And so a lot of people definitely woke up to see they were facing 250 yards and 3 touchdowns on the opposite side of them. Just the absolute worst way to start your Sunday.
Last week was just such a huge running back slate. It was the most rushing yards in a week this season per team. The highest rate of 10 or more yard runs. Highest rate of runs to go for a first down or touchdown. It was old school week, man. The league's had the lowest drop back rate of the season so far last week. So hopefully we get some oscillation. It's a passing week this week.
Unless you watch primetime, then you got nothing. Not even the running game.
Rich, who's our favorite play in this game? Tampa, Buffalo.
Oh, probably Igbokwe still, right? Like he's like the most reliable guy. Now he's now been targeted on 30% of his routes without Mike Evans and Chris Godwin on the field. He has 44% of team air yards on those 140 routes. He has run into a couple tougher matchups. As Baker's had some really volatile performances, he's only caught 13 of 34 targets over the past 3 games because Baker hasn't really played that great. But we do have a shift here where he's going against a zone-based team where he is facing a lot of man coverage teams. He's only averaging 1.1 yards per out run against man coverage, but 2.6 yards per out run against zone coverage. And the Bills are, 72% zone rate. Again, they're just giving up points to wide receivers. Like I said, 31st in wide receiver 1 points allowed. Jalen Waddle had 84 and a touchdown before they called off the dogs or the Finns, I guess, last week. I'm not sure. Rashee Rice had 80 yards and a rushing score the week before, so I guess that one's kind of an asterisk. But Tet McMillan the week before that, 7 for 99. Drake London the week before that, 10 for 158. The week before that, Stephon Diggs, 10 for 146. So if you're going to give a guy a lot of targets, they're probably going to have to throw, like we've talked about, as a road dog chasing points. So, yeah, he's probably the safest of the guys to play.
I think Dawson Knox is probably the cutest. Okay. It's better than Otten's matchup, but again, if you're just trying to spin down somewhere and get cheap with Josh Allen, at least we saw in Kincaid's only absence this year, Knox ran around on 77% of dropbacks, but he played the Falcons, like another defense like the Eagles, where you really just don't play tight ends against it all. And again, the Bucks have been good, but they haven't been that. They haven't been what the Falcons have been to tight ends. So again, just a cheap punt at tight end.
And John, we're not really chasing this Cade Otton 12 target, 9 reception game. He's still yet to score a touchdown.
Let me clean up what I said earlier, because I said it in such a bad way. Communication is my expertise, and I did it so horribly. You could tell the week has rained on me. Okay, so to keep it simple, the Bills have allowed the fewest targets and yards to opposing tight ends per game. Let's just make it like that. So, again, Cade Otton, Igbokwe, Tez have soaked up 70% of the targets the last 3 games without Mike Evans. The ball goalie goes to 3 locations. But I do think, again, you would have to have immense volume for Otton to return any amount of efficiency. So I'm going to doubt that.
All right. Anything else here as far as game 2, or shall we scoot along?
This game would have been Bears Vikings if we knew about the Bears. I wanted it to be Bears Vikings, but we are waiting on a lot of injury news from the Bears. You can't really talk about them right now.
Rich, you were saying?
Interesting thing too is Josh Allen outside the Chiefs game really hasn't been good. Since week 5, he's actually the QB 11 in points per game. Obviously, we know he still possesses that immense upside, but there's a lot of pulling strings here. Dalton Kincaid's not going to play in this game. He's by far been their best pass catcher this season. He's actually 3rd in yards per out run for the season behind Jackson Smith and Jigba and Puka Nacua. Really? And all because the way to beat the Buccaneers too is in the play action pass game, and he's their play action guy. He's the one that he has a 35% target share on play action passes. All 5 of Josh Allen's interceptions have come with Dalton Kincaid off the field. The last time Dalton Kincaid missed a game, Josh Allen only completed 57% of his passes for under 7 yards per pass attempt and 2 interceptions. So this is a game I think that is probably volatile, but the Bills can probably control the game script So I don't even know if it's a week where I'm like really like it says local man about to get dragged by a 30-point Josh Allen game. It's not a week where I'm like excited to pay up for like really either of the high priced quarterbacks, including Lamar Jackson, if we talk about too.
That stat about his 5 interceptions with Kincaid off the field. Where do you pull that from? Like, how do you get that? I mean, that's an incredible stat. I don't know how you get that, but interesting. Yeah. Because the big thing about people talking about Buffalo is like, why did they not go out and get a receiver?
Yeah.
Coleman didn't take a step. It's pretty clear.
Well, listen, who was it? Who's there? Is it their GM, Brandon Beane, said that they didn't make trades because of fantasy football. Fantasy football ruined it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he trusts Curtis Samuel and Elijah Moore, I suppose. I don't know. It's you're asking a lot. You're asking a lot out of Josh Allen.
And I think they got burned a little bit too by the Amari trade.
Yeah, I suppose, but still, you move on.
But Josh Palmer's been hurt. They've been rolling out Tyrell Shavers, who like is just like a blocking receiver. I mean, they're down bad in terms of like playmakers.
Even in beating them down too, Tua was still horrible, like for fantasy and on the field. So not to say Tua is Baker Mayfield, but again, Bills' pass defense at least has held their ground this entire time because it's so easy to run on them. So it's just hard to figure out where, even if you play this game in this slate.
And the Bills for having such bad defensive metrics against the run, like have really only allowed big fantasy games that were predictable. They've only allowed 4 RB1 games, 2 to Devin Achane, 1 to Bijan Robinson, 1 to Derrick Henry. All those guys create explosives. All of them, except for Derrick Henry, added 6 or more catches to their total. Like there's just no one here. They've only allowed 300-yard rushing games the whole year. Like you would think that they just give up the bag every week. Probably the closest comp you can make for this game is when they played the Saints. And in that game, Kamara had 19 touches for 72 yards and Kendry Miller had 11 touches for 65 yards and a touchdown. That's like probably the outcome you're hoping for with these guys. But like, it's just really tough to split these guys because they have also in turn just been terrible running the ball.
Can I say I don't really love this game? I know we featured it, but like you guys didn't sell me on it. Like I'm not nobody. Oh man, I got to play that player.
Well, I don't want to play Justin Herbert, and again, we're waiting on the Bears and Vikings. So I think the indoor and the Vikings is a fun one, but we'll talk about that when we get to positional plays.
I mean, it's the Bucks. Like they can always get they always rope someone into a fun game.
All right, game number 3 we'll talk about in a second, but I do want to mention Rich has a great deal for all our listeners this week only. You can get all of his Week 11 fantasy football content along with all of Warren Sharp's betting recommendations for free. That's right, for free. Go to sharp.football to claim this offer. All right, game 3. Daigle, I'm more excited about this one. This is a fun one for sure. 2 of the top receivers going at it. Seattle at the Rams, 48.5 is the total. Rams minus 2.5. Get us started.
Lots of different angles, and this game is extremely volatile too, given that we talked about it last week, how there was going to come a time where Stafford would at least get tested. And this is the game that tests you. They haven't played each other yet, the Seahawks and the Rams this year. So it's exciting to see how they match up in a chess match-like form. And it's also interesting from a betting angle too, because right now Stafford is 3-1 to be MVP. He's the second place right now behind the current betting favorite Drake May, and Darnold's 10-1. But if the Seahawks win this game, that probably flips, and Darnold suddenly second, if not first, around Drake May. So just something to think about. I'll start it from the Seahawks side because I don't know if it's that I have more faith in Seattle's passing game, but I certainly think there are less variables, including the running game, to consider. Right now, for example, the Rams are allowing the 5th highest success rate against play action. Darnold leads the league with 13.5 yards per attempt from play action. So we have that. And Mac Jones, I know a lot of it was garbage time as the Rams just reversed the game script from the last time they played the Niners, and they got up huge this past week. And so Mac Jones was forced to throw, had a very efficient 300-yard outing. But at the same time, we can at least look at how the Rams are also still getting beat through their secondary. And so we know we want to play Jackson Smith-Njigba, continuing to earn targets from Darnold. But then you also have now the caveat of Rashid Shaheed in his second game here too. Only the Niners are allowing more points to slot receivers than the Rams, and it's a super small sample. But last week, Shaheed led their wide receivers in slot routes and also added on 2 10-yard carries, and we expect his role to grow further this week. So I have more faith personally in playing it through Darnold in the passing game and then figuring out ways to bring it back, because that's already gets super expensive.
Rich, do you also prefer the Darnold side? You prefer Matthew Stafford and his broken back? Puka, of course, is a lot of fun. Adams at the goal line. And then there's the 4 tight ends are rolling out these days, the 13 personnel. We joked about how much would you pay to get all the tight ends for the Rams? It's like one person.
Yeah, one guy. Can I get one tight end Ram, please, and one tight end Steeler this week? I would like to play both of those. Combine all things, and this 13 personnel is low key hurting Puka Nacua. He's been a little bit banged up too, but outside of the missed snaps over the past 2 games, Matthew Stafford has 23 dropbacks with 3 or more tight ends on the field. Puka Nacua has only been on the field for 1 of those. His route rate the past 3 games, 55%, 65%, 62%. In Nakua's games played this season, Stafford has 46 dropbacks with 2 or more tight ends in the field. Nakua's only been on the field for 18 of those. And that's again, that's factoring in the games Nakua played, not the London game. He's still been efficient with 4.3 yards per out run and 2.8 yards per out run, but you can see in the raw target counts, it showed up. He was basically operating neck and neck with Jackson and Smith and Jigba for a while. And now it's clearly Jackson Smith and Jigba. Jackson Smith and Jigba had 6 targets, 93 yards and a touchdown. He ran 11 routes.
Well, half the targets, right? Was there 12 passes thrown in total?
There's been 7 games this year where our wide receivers had 50% or more of his team's targets, and he has 3 of those. Jamar Chase has 2, Drake London has 1, and Garrett Wilson has the other one. Right now he leads all players with 39% of the team targets, 53% of the air yards. He already has the 8th most receiving yards for any player through 9 games, and he is by far the fewest targets of any player above him on the list. He's averaging 4.67 yards per out run. It's the highest rate for any player since that data has been available. And we like him here because we got road dogs. They're going to get pushed. He's only running 24.8 routes per game. That's wide receiver 74 on the season. What happens if we get a 35 route game from Jackson Smith and Jigba? A 40 route game for Jackson Smith and Jigba? God bless us. We'll be gifted. Yeah, he's only run 30 routes in a game 3 times. He's gone over 100 yards, obviously, in all those because he's gone to 100 yards in basically every game. But and then the Rams, again, vulnerable, 25th in yards target allowed to outside receivers, where he's playing 81% of his snaps. So, yeah, this feels like a spot where you want to be aggressive to pay up. And we did kind of gloss over Jamar Chase a little bit. We said to play him Jamar Chase has 62 targets and Joe Flacco starts. The choosing between Jamar Chase and Jackson Smith and Jigba this week is really tough because getting both of them in the same lineup is hard. The hardest thing about this game is this is a really hard game to stack because everyone's really expensive.
Do we think we're going to see an increase in routes for Shaheed? I mean, that was the first game, and who knows, because there was only 12 dropbacks? Is that what it was? 12 actual passes from Darnold? So
dude, he had 2 turnovers in a row on 2 straight dropbacks, and they're like, never again. Never again. In the second half, they completed 1 pass. They're like, we're done with this. Let's get out of here.
Well, the game was 28-0 or 21-0, really, really quick, right? The game was over pretty much in the first quarter and a half or so.
Yeah, because we all had Trey McBride. That's how we all got there, man.
Yeah, we're going to talk about him this week as well, I'm sure. I imagine he'll be popping up in our tight end conversation
every week.
Yes.
And that's what makes it fun for Stafford too. Again, it's so much more complex because there's so much going on between the 13 personnel and tacking on Kyron Williams targets, Blake Corum mixing in. And so it is thinner, so much so that maybe you play a naked Stafford and just try to soak up the passing touchdowns in different variations that way. But also the defenses we talked about last week that Stafford is run into, they are ones that Stafford should have dunked on. It is still an amazing accomplishment to toss for 4 touchdowns in 3 consecutive games with no picks and 3 sacks taken in that time. But at the same time, the Rams have only run 14 dropbacks in the fourth quarter of these 3 games combined because they're blowing out opponents. And so it's not just that we might getting Darnold and JSN pushed. We could also be getting Stafford pushed, which is equally exciting, even though it's a different defense he's playing here, not the Jaguars, Saints, banged up Ravens. Like this is not a soft spot for him either. Even against 13 personnel that, again, everyone's talking about, like the Seahawks have been incredible so far against it. Top 8 success rate and yards per attempt against 13 personnel this year. If you want to run from 13 personnel, Seahawks are limiting you to 2.8 yards per carry. And so, again, I do have faith in Sean McVay and Stafford. They can get something done. I just genuinely don't know how. And we have to allocate a lot of salary to a hard choice.
And he has to throw 4 touchdowns. Like when you play Matthew and Sam Darnold has to throw 4 touchdowns. That's what makes these guys so hard because, like, well, first of all, like all their spike weeks have come in obvious spots. Like Stafford has 5 QB1 scoring games, 49ers twice, Jaguars, Saints, and Colts. Right? Yeah. Like he's faced 2 teams in the top 10 in passing points allowed this season: the Eagles and the Texans. 13 points in both games. This feels like such an obvious spot where you get the slowdown, right? Like he's not going to throw 4 touchdowns per game, but you look at like Seattle, who Seattle's faced, and you're like, well, man, they face Spencer Rattler, Aaron Rodgers, Kyler Murray, Trevor Lawrence, Jacoby Brissett, CJ Stroud, a battered Jaden Daniels. Like, how real is this? I do believe their defense is actually really good. And the same thing for Sam Darnold. Like Sam Darnold's spike weeks have been completely identifiable. He has 4 QB1 scoring weeks: Commanders, Jaguars, Saints, and then that depleted version of the Tampa Bay defense that they got to face. He's only had 3 games against top teams in passing points allowed per game, and QB 18, QB 26, and then asterisks last week's because they just didn't have to throw. But yeah, but anyone good that the Rams have faced has gotten there, like competent. Like Mac Jones has 2 QB1 scoring weeks, whether game script or what, he still threw for over 300 yards in both games. And Jalen Hurts threw for 3 passing touchdowns against the Rams as a part of a 29-point game. Outside of that, CJ Stroud, Cam Ward, Trevor Lawrence, Cooper Rush, Tyler Shuck. Like, although Darnold probably still has nightmares about this defensive line from the playoffs last year.
We talk about the 13 personnel. We know tight ends are going to be in the field. Is there any reason to try to play the whack-a-mole game with Higbee and Ferguson, Allison, Parkinson? They're all in the 2s, but is there any lean? Is there any reason to play that game, or it's just, the squeeze is not worth the juice? Is it not worth this to try to figure it out? Is there any way to figure it out?
There's no real signal. Like I said, I found like maybe the signal for like maybe it's Darnell Washington if it's like they're in the lead, like you play more snaps. But over the past 3 games, Higbee has run a route on 42% of dropbacks. Ferguson 33%. Colby Parkinson and Davis Allen are tied at 26%. Ferguson is like the most fun profile because he's averaging 23 air yards per target. So like he'd be like the one dude, like if you luck boxed into like a money play. He has 10 targets too. Like with that, so like they're not cheapies. Like it's not like he has 4 targets and he's averaging 20 yards. Like he's averaging 23 air yards on 10 targets. Like it's pretty healthy amount of air yards.
And Seattle is allowing the 5th most targets to tight ends every week. So there's room here. If you run Darnold doubles, like I could see just spending down and punting on the other side with Ferguson.
That'll be your favorite if you had to pick one, Ferguson?
If I have to pick one, yeah. Again, I may not get there, but yeah.
Favorite play from this game, Daigle? Is it JSN? It sounds like that's everybody's favorite play.
It's not the running backs, and it is Darnold and JSN.
Rich, you feel the same way?
Yeah, JSN versus Jamar Chase is going to be something that is going to drive me crazy, I think, all week.
I like Shaheed for tournaments a lot, too.
Are we expecting a healthy boost, or you just want to be there before it happens?
Yes. I want to be there in this game before it happens, not to mention you get outs with the end arounds, because that for Shaheed, that is something that could be like a 30-yard touchdown. So I want to be ahead of Shaheed here.
Is this the game you trade for him for, like this kind of game? Is this why you have this piece?
It makes sense. Yes, I think they're doing it because they believe they are a serious contender. But this game, I would think it is the unveiling. Yes,
I think great real football game. It's gonna be a huge. We got this, and Broncos Chiefs would probably be as fun to watch, but it has implications.
Shaheed is 4'9" on DK. I think he's like 5'3" or 5'4" on FanDuel. Okay. Certainly worth throwing in the tournament bucket if nothing else. Anything else here, boys, as far as Seattle and the Rams?
Well, we got Devontae Adams banged up. He's going to play, but kind of sketchy, right? Like 35% of his fantasy points are touchdowns this year. That's the highest rate. And obviously, that falls, but Seattle's been awesome against outside receivers. And then he's only faced one team that has been better than Seattle this year, and that was Houston. And he had 50 yards in that game, and it's all the way back in week 1. But just something to kind of note that maybe like it's not a week to kind of chase him. That's what makes this game so hard, right? Like,
yeah.
Even Puka's has a reduction in snaps with the 13 personnel stuff and his own injuries. Adams is banged up. It feels like a spot where like Stafford does slow down.
Even the Puka thing, which like, yes, the conversation has been to 13 personnel and what it's done for Puka's routes. I think a lot of people know that or are hearing about it. And so I'm curious what his ownership does, because I will still take a chance that we get more volume if I'm getting a low rostered Puka at cost.
If Adams is banged up, I'm assuming he's the receiver in the 13 in the
yeah.
Okay, so
in Mumfield, it's him in Mumfield.
That's the guy that's been out there. Okay,
yeah, because it's the same thing the Chargers are doing, which is why Keenan Allen's not running any routes anymore. Is because Trey Harris is playing in 1 to 2 wide receiver sets because he's a good blocker.
I thought we were going to get Keenan Allen back in our lives with the Gadsden injury, but Gadsden was full today.
Okay, I didn't see that. Thank you for the update. Yeah, I saw he missed last game with a contusion. Was like
it came out, yeah.
He got injured, but he practiced in full today.
Yeah, it looks scary at first.
Anything else here, boys, as far as Seattle and the Rams?
Great football game. Can't wait to watch it.
And
will there be fantasy points? I don't know, but it's gonna be a great football game.
And how many of those fantasy points are AJ Barner tush push? I don't know either. So
will there be fantasy points in KC Denver on at the same time is another question we'll have. We'll be talking about that.
Bo Nix is in one of those games.
Is he not good? Is he not good?
That's the astronaut meme. Never was.
Wow. Yeah, he's not. He's definitely regressing so far this season. That defense has been carrying the Broncos. I think they've won 8 games in a row, if I'm not mistaken.
They've won. They've won, I think, 10 home games in a row. This game also is the longest streak. Seattle's won 10 road games in a row. It's the longest active streak.
They got the 12th man on the road. Seattle.
Yeah, the 12th man on the road. Yeah, they've lost more games at home.
That's impressive. All right, let's run it back. Talk about our fair plays, position by position in games we've not yet discussed. I do want to mention, if you want to try our NFL DFS tools without a full season commitment, for a limited time, you get half off a 3-day NFL pass, access to everything you need to crush the slate. You'll get the optimizer tool, lineup HQ, packed with player projections, ownership percentages, much, much more. You'll also get SimLabs NFL, easiest way to build smart competitive lineups in just a few clicks. That's all for less than $10, $9.99 to not miss your chance to get an edge. Time that correctly. Time that correctly when you order that 3-day pass. And if you want to extend the more than 3 days for a limited time, you can get your first month of NFL Combo Pro for $79.99. That's Combo Pro that includes NFL, football, baseball, basketball, hockey, MMA, PGA, all the sports, all the bells, all the whistles. NFL happens to be $5 less a la carte, $75. But for the first month, you can get all the bells, all the sports, less than $80. The links are in the description. Okay, quarterbacks that we like, Daigle. Who do we like as far as quarterbacks in Week 11 we've not yet discussed?
I touched on Bears Vikings. So for a cheap spin down, as ugly as it is, at least we got Minnesota's second highest pass rate over expectation of the week. Their largest last week with JJ McCarthy under center. So if we get that, obviously the Bears, we saw what they just allowed to Joe Flacco. I do think a cheap JJ McCarthy with that rushing upside, at least 5 carries in his last 3 games, that sprint, I believe it was a 19-yard touchdown sprint in week 1 against the Bears as well. I do think that's interesting spin down option indoors. And then another ugly one is one that could have slipped in for Bucs Bills as well. And the Cardinals 49ers, Jacoby Brissett. We lost Marvin Harrison Jr., but We're talking about him to Trey McBride. And now we've seen at least 31 pass attempts in Brissett's 4 games. And he's quietly adding on 4.5 scrambles per week as well. And the Niners, as we talk about every single week, just have lost everyone. They're not getting any amount of a pressure from a clean pocket. Jacoby Brissett is 13th in yards per attempt with 8 touchdowns to 1 pick. So I think it's a pretty clean spot in a game that could be high scoring indoors. And that is what I have at quarterback, at least spin down options.
Do we like Brissett doubles with Wilson as well as a potential cheapie? Do you think he's interesting? Or
I think I'd personally play Greg Dortch over Michael Wilson. We can talk about it when we get there. But yeah, with Trey McBride for sure.
What do you got, Rich, as far as some quarterbacks?
I had Jonathan James McCarthy as well on my short list. He's it hasn't been pretty, but he's scoring fantasy points, and he's cheap.
It's not pretty at all.
Yeah, it's all right. I mean, he's finished QB 16 or higher in 3 of his 4 starts, so it's still they add up. And then you're facing this Chicago team that's 30th in passing points allowed per attempt. They're 26th in just raw passing points allowed per game, 31st in touchdown rate allowed. They are just not a good defense at all so we want to target them. I did still have Justin Herbert on my list. Listen, if you give up 26 fantasy points to Geno Smith and then follow that up and you give up 28 points to Davis Mills, I don't care what offensive lineman you got on the field.
That's the concern. That line is so bad.
But I don't even know if it matters because the Jaguars, like the 49ers, are just reeling. They are last in the NFL in sack rate over the past 5 weeks. They've gone to blitz happy tactics that aren't working. They've blitzed at the 3rd highest rate over that span, but are only getting pressure on 44% of those blitzes, which is 16th. Over that span, they're 19th in yards allowed per pass attempt, 30th in touchdown rate allowed. They've allowed a QB1 scorer in all 5 of those games. And it started off fine. You give up spike week to Patrick Mahomes or Matthew Stafford, you're whatever, right? But like I said, 4 touchdown game to Geno Smith. Then Davis Mills comes back and scores 20 points on you in a quarter. And the Jaguars are a complete pass funnel. They're good against the run. They face the 2nd highest pass rate in the NFL. They face 38 passes per game. And Herbert's rushing for the most yards of his career. He already set a new career high in rushing yards. So maybe the Joe Alt fear gets us an opening here.
I have Ladd McConkey and Quentin Johnston on my list, so Justin Herbert just naturally makes sense.
So I don't know if you guys know this, and again, Wednesday night, right? But most popular quarterback on both FanDuel and DK, at least what I'm running, JJ McCarthy. He's looking like the early chalk. I know you guys both liked him. He's cheap, good matchup in a dome. Yeah. So I mean that's where it's at right now. This stuff.
I'm usually pretty good at pinpointing the cash game quarterback on Wednesday as well, but I really don't know right now because the slate's kind of wide open.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like I said, I think you could make an argument not to chase Allen at his cost, and we can make one for Lamar too. But you can always get shadow roamed by one of those guys as well. But I think that the way and it's Wednesday, we'll see what opens up. But I think the way builds are shaping up is you want to get one of these high-priced running backs, one of these high-priced receivers, and maybe try to squeeze Trey McBride in, which is a little restrictive at this point in the week. I can tell you one thing. I'm not playing Jameis Winston, and I know that is a big frowny face.
Oh, come on. You don't like fun? You hate fun?
I know. I hate fun.
I don't like – it's just a bad spot, right? I don't like it either.
Yeah.
In a different spot maybe, but –
brand new head coach. He's getting thrown out here to be a sacrificial lamb, man. Also, Green Bay's just been so good.
No eating of the W's this week for Jameson.
Yeah, if we had Malik Neighbors and Cam Scattaboo and they were facing someone else, I might feel a little more.
Also, remember that this is the same spot like we talked about against the Chargers last year where Jameson Williams played like a Broncos defense, popped off because they play a lot of man coverage. That's what he excels against. Last year, he's one of the league's worst quarterbacks whenever he played zone defenses. And Green Bay plays like a blend of different coverages, leading to 78% of their snaps coming from zone defense. So I, too, don't think it's a good matchup for Jameis Winston.
I was just looking to see. I was hoping the Giants would play like the Bengals or something like that in a couple weeks, but no. Green Bay, Detroit, New England, they closed pretty interesting.
And people forget, like, Dart was certifiably bad as a passer. He was just getting rushing points.
The legs got there.
And he's fun.
Yeah,
He's
and he's
fun.
That counts.
But
that boosted the rankings.
the Packers have allowed one top 10 score this season. They have allowed only 2 quarterbacks throw for more than 225 yards against them. And the thing about the Packers is they play slow on offense.
Yeah.
Like, you're going to do this because we're going to talk about running backs. I guess maybe that's a segue. Josh Jacobs is going to have 35 carries this game.
Yeah. Yep.
Like, you're not going to have like this. You're not going to have this Jameis experience where it's like a bonanza, man. Like, Matt LaFleur is not going to stand for this against the league's worst run defense.
Like, I wanted to sell Jordan Love, if anything, but I think I'm just personally sick of the Packers offense and trying to figure out the right combination. Also, the first instance we got without Tucker Kraft, which we knew there was a range of outcomes. We didn't expect it to be good. It was even worse than we thought. So no, I'm not playing Jordan Love here. I think Josh Jacobs is an amazing play.
And maybe Tucker Kraft's the MVP, seeing how they play without him in Green Bay.
Good.
Well, that dude's like so good at football on so many
good.
levels. Like, what he does for your offense in the run game after the catch, like what you can just do schematically, just unlocks. Like, he's just a queen piece on the board. Like, he just does so many things.
Even being so cheap too, like I talked about, not being able to pinpoint the cash game quarterback. I don't think it's going to be Jameis Winston, any of his salary. I think people will catch on by Sunday that it's not a hardy play you want to bet everything on.
And Jacobs was healthy finally on Monday. He was going through like that little bit of the calf injury, but then last week he was back up 75% of the snaps. He was below 60% the previous 3 weeks. He had 93% of the backfield touches, and he's been like sneaky involved as a pass catcher this year. He ran a route on 60% of the dropbacks. He's got a lot more catches this year than I think people realize too. He has at least 4 receptions in 5 of his past 7 games. He's also been targeted on 21% of his routes this year. That's the RB13. And like I said, this is the worst run defense in the NFL. Also, touchdown equity. This dude has 1 touchdown. He has at least 1 touchdown in 19 of his past 21 games.
Yeah.
27 touchdowns over that span. Giants league high yards per carry allowed to running backs. Like, this is going to be, because we don't know what receivers are going to be on the field yet for the Packers at this point of the week. Like, this is going to be a Josh Jacobs special.
I talked about that on our Monday Showdown show as well. It's like, even in being a tough matchup against the Eagles, for Josh Jacobs, just the way he wins, he can spam points and he still has multiple touchdowns in his range of outcomes, even if he were to run for 50 yards. So his floor is just so significantly high that now you're tacking on the ceiling with the on-paper matchup, and it's an amazing spot for Jacobs.
And he's playable on DraftKings now, where it used to be like you would be kind of hesitant because of the reception stuff, like an old school Jonathan Taylor. But like, these guys are now chipping in the passing game.
He's currently the 4th most popular running back in the stuff that I ran. By the way, Rich, Sunday morning is the heads up. You're probably going to need to put those gloves back on. We're going to need you to boots in the ground in Cleveland. You might have to throw another pass for the people. Winds are coming off the lake with some bite, according to Roth. Sustained winds around that. That's his adjective of choice. You know what? You read about weather every single day. You got to get frisky. You got to hit the thesaurus, I would imagine. Sustained winds are around 20 miles per hour. Gusts up to around 30, 35. So again, keep an eye on that Wednesday night, but we may need you Sunday morning to go outside, brave the elements. Okay, so other running backs. Go ahead.
Talk about sacrificial lamb, by the way. Dylan Gabriel, my word, just bring us to the promised land of a top 5 quarterback. Dylan Gabriel, it's all they're asking.
I mean, it's you always think like the Browns can't find a way to find a worse quarterback than like what they've put out before before the previous guy, and like somehow it keeps happening. Like, I was pretty sure like DTR was one of the worst quarterbacks like I had seen. Yeah, like, man, Dylan Gabriel. Like, there's a Twitter account that I forget the name of it, but it's like worst passes of the weekend, and every week they just do Dylan Gabriel clips. It's not even like another quarterbacks; it's just Dylan Gabriel clips.
And the best part is that the way he introduces Dylan Gabriel in every clip is that he mentions, here's Browns quarterback.
Have you seen this?
Yeah, oh yeah. Here's Browns quarterback Dylan Gabriel. Here's former Oregon quarterback Dylan Gabriel. Number 3 is Browns rookie Dylan Gabriel. Like, yeah, it's amazing.
Daigle,
I kind of feel bad
this week. Actually, I'm pretty sure that was hilarious.
Yeah, I feel bad for him though, man. It just like he clearly like mentally you could see like Dylan Gabriel, like he processes fine. He just has no like you need to put his brain in another body. Like he just has no physical attributes.
Like Frankenstein, but for NFL.
He has no arm strength, man.
He had that one screen this past weekend where he sailed into the stands, and I don't know if it was Judy, but the wide receiver even, like the body language, just raising his hand to the sideline, like, "What do y'all want me to do here?" Like it's a screen. I'm literally open, and the ball just goes 50 yards away from the receiver. It's so bad.
Even that touchdown he threw to Judy, it just felt like one of us in the backyard, like you got to take like 4 steps forward to get everything you have into it.
It's bad. Poor guy.
We said we like Jacobs.
But to be fair, he's saving us from the Shedeur saga. So like we've got to let this keep going.
That's going to happen. Like, and then what's the harm if you throw him out there in week 15, 16? Why not?
I'm not ready for it, Dean.
What's
he's going to play. He'll play at the end of the year for sure.
Yeah.
I'm just not ready for the media coverage of it.
Is the media really going to be all over it? Are people really going to clamor for whatever 2 and 12? Well, I guess they are. I imagine so. I won't.
It's going to be like every show, and it's playing for like a Browns team has nothing to play for, and people are going to be so invested.
You got to have a hot take. You can't just say like this, whatever. It doesn't
Deion Sun, man.
We like Jacobs. We talk about Jacobs. Rich, who else is on your list for running backs?
Yeah, we do like Jacobs. Woody Marks. Who amongst us isn't ready to have this Lucy with the football happen to us again? I am ready.
Same matchup too. Titans.
I am so ready. He had his first start last week. He played 80% of the snaps, 16 touches, 80 yards. He even played at the goal line. Nick Chubb only had 6 touches. He ran a route on a season high 55% of the dropbacks, and now he's playing the Tennessee Titans, who are 28th in yards per carry allowed to running backs. They're 25th in total yards per game. When these teams played in week 4, this was the first time we thought we were going to be on board for the Woody Marks like trajectory. He had 21 touches, 120 yards, and 2 touchdowns last time these teams played. I'm pretty sure this won't be a game where they need Davis Mills to drop back 45 times.
Are we sure Mills is playing? I thought Stroud is on track. Oh, Mills is rolled in? I didn't see
They are preparing for Mills to start.
Okay. I thought Stroud was going to be coming back. My bad. I was behind.
I mean, that hit was pretty scary that he had.
Yeah. Well, obviously, take your time. Yeah, just for some reason I thought he was going to be good to go this week, but
it was a real scary hit, man. Like, I think they're just giving him more time, but they said they're already preparing for Mills to play.
Good. Yeah, give him as much time as he needs for sure. Daigle, who else is on your list?
I will tack on this. The splits are skewed since he returned, so it's really tough to talk about. But the Vikings have made a transition to more Aaron Jones. Last week was a negative game script, I know, but at the same time, to still out carry Jordan Mason, to still play significantly more snaps. He played 71% of the team snaps last week, and that was him returning from injury. So if he's healthy, I think Aaron Jones is in an interesting spot here along with JJ McCarthy. And then it's easy enough to say that Jonathan Taylor just had 250 yards and 3 touchdowns against this defense. And I understand the Falcons opened up as 3.5-point favorites, but the Panthers are built to beat the Falcons. Like, the one thing they do against a run funnel defense is just hammer on to Rico Dowdle. Chuba Hubbard got out carried 18-3, only 11 snaps last week. It's all Rico Dowdle's offense. So I also like Rico Dowdle as a sneaky start here too.
Yeah, I had Dowdle on my list. These teams that have traveled overseas and haven't taken their bye, the following week have kind of no-showed.
Don't they have the option? Isn't that their choice? And
yeah, they have choice. But they've really struggled the week after. A lot of these teams, like where they've kind of meandered through their next game the week after. Since the week 5 bye, Atlanta Falcons have allowed 5 yards per carry to running backs, 24th in the league, 147 rushing yards per game. That's 31st. Even if you remove Jonathan Taylor's week 10 completely, the Falcons have a 51.8 success rate against running back runs since their bye. That's 29th in the league, and they're 27th in rushing yards allowed per game. Running backs have 44% of the fantasy points scored against Atlanta. It's the highest rate in the league. It feels like a good week to go back after, like, Rico was really chalky and was just kind of meh, to go back to him too.
What is the benefit to opt against the bye when you're, if you're going to have to use it at some point? Why would you not want it after like going overseas? That seems,
especially because Atlanta had an earlier bye. Like, you would think you don't even want the early season bye regardless.
I don't understand.
Like, they could have had a bye this week, like, middle of the season. Very odd. But a lot of these teams have struggled, man.
I'm gonna need an RJ Harvey take because he's projecting pretty good. No Dobbins.
Yeah, he's super cheap.
Yeah, he's cheap. I don't think the matchup is necessarily great here against Kansas City, and we're not sure what the split's going to be with him and what McLaughlin's lurking. I guess Batty's lurking.
They're not lurking.
They're not lurking. You think it's going to be? You think it's going to be RJ Harvey like 80%?
It's like a very similar situation that we have with like Travion Henderson. Like Jaleel McLaughlin has 1 carry this year. Like he's been active 1 time. They used the second round pick on a player like this. If they're not going to play him now, like you're admitting like a huge fault, right?
Lurking was a bad word. In uniform maybe, but yeah.
I mean, but Bidet is going to continue to play because he's the pass blocker. Harvey only has 4 pass blocking snaps all year. And that was in his collegiate profile. He was a horrendous run blocker or pass blocker. But it feels very similar to the Travion Henderson's situation from a couple weeks ago, where like when you look at Travion Henderson's rushing profile, it was really weak before he got to play. And RJ Harvey's rushing profile is really weak. I mean, he's only has 50 rushing attempts. He is out of the 45 running backs, 50 or more rushing attempts. He's 44th in success rate. He's second to last in explosive run rate. But again, these were all things for like in Travion Henderson's profile. When he finally got a chance to play, he certainly looks like a little bit better player when he can get a little bit of a rhythm, right? We would love for the spot to be a little bit better though. Unfortunately, like Chiefs off of a bye. Isn't particularly exciting. I'm curious too to see like what this does for the offense if Harvey has to play. So like right now, like the Denver Broncos have had like a little bit of identity crisis. I really think ironically, like what they should have been doing is just been using J.K. Dobbins in the passing game more and playing more power football. I think on the surface, like the best thing about the Broncos was J.K. Dobbins and how efficient he was and their offensive line, but that's not really the way they wanted to play. They wanted to throw to get leads, and then use J.K. Dobbins to like to close wins down. But Bo Nix has been awful, like largely inconsistent and been bad. Like they should have just been playing through J.K. Dobbins in the offensive line. Now that's kind of a luxury they might not have. So I'm curious to see what this offense looks like in totality.
Did you have anything to add there, Daigle, as far as Harvey? Anybody else in the mix? We didn't mention CMC. Do we have? It's week 11. The people know, right? Like if you have salary, play CMC. Is there anything new we're going to say about CMC? I don't. He's great. No. You have salary, play him, sure.
But the one thing about CMC, and I talked about this with Crane on Friday, and it's why I ended up coming off him last week and going to different builds with like Achane. So like CMC, like the question is now to salary, because like he's always an RB1. You have to ask yourself can he be the RB1 on a slate? And he's only really shown it in the games where you can marry both rushing efficiency and his receiving role. So you have to ask yourself, is this a week he can actually run effectively? Because his 2 like hammer weeks are when he's run the football well, the Giants and the Falcons. So like that's what you have to ask yourself. And like last week was a clear spot where it's like, man, they're not gonna be able to run on the Rams. He's gonna get his through the air and have his combined yardage, but like they're not gonna be able to run. So like that's the question you have to ask yourself at his salary now is he going to be an RB1? We know he's going to be that. Can he be the RB1? And his only avenue to do that right now with the way he's been running the football is to have that rushing efficiency. So could this be a spot? It could be. It could be.
And you're also not even weighing it against spending up at running back. You're weighing it spending up at wide receiver this week since we've talked about Chase, JSN, and Puka.
His actual rushing yards inefficient, right? I'm looking at it. I can't do the math in my head, but 180 attempts for 626 yards. That seems bad. Is that bad? I think that's bad.
Out of 27 running backs, 100 more carries, he's last in yards per carry. He's 22nd in success rate. The 49ers are the only team in the NFL without a run of 20 or more yards. Christian McCaffrey has gained 10 or more yards on 8.9% of his runs. Only Quinshon Judkins and Alvin Kamara are worse. His longest run this season is 16 yards.
Jeez.
That undeniably, if you watch last week's game, Brian Robinson was the better runner of the football. Now, McCaffrey's still doing his thing in the passing game, but like on just raw handoffs, like running the football, like if you watch those 2 running backs and had no idea, if you took off their nameplates as the first time you watch football, you would undeniably think that Brian Robinson was the better running back between the 2 on running plays.
Interesting. Yeah, that's a good note. Anybody else as far as running backs?
This is a spot where maybe you can get there. I mean, Arizona's really started to get kind of soft against the run. They got some guys banged up too. So That's what you have to sell yourself though, is not him just being like good, because at his salary, like he needs to score like 30 points now. He's getting you the 20 to 25. But if you those weeks where you're looking at it, it's like, well, I think it's only be a 25-point McCaffrey game. Those are the weeks you can kind of come off of him and not force him into lineups.
The box score, for what it's worth, first time around, 15 targets, 10 catches, 88 yards, but held in check on the ground, 17 for 52.
Yeah, they've been worse as the season has gone on. They just are coming off allowing 180 yards to the Seattle backfield. The week before that, they allowed 5.5 yards to carry to Javonte Williams, 2 touchdowns the week before that to Josh Jacobs. So they've been a little softer since these teams last met.
Okay, I'm trying to see if
we also are probably going to get Brock Purdy finally playing.
But to make things worse, Ricky Pearsall also might play. So what you do with that target tree after that, I don't have a clue.
Yeah.
And you can, like I said, you can always play CMC. It's just like, I think I'm more excited to play other guys at a cheaper salary though this week, because I want to get JSN or Jamar Chase in every lineup.
If you're prioritizing, well, either he's third amongst those three, Rich. I know it's different positions, but just kind of building lineups. You have CMC behind both Chase and
I think I want to get one of those guys in for sure.
I think that's why RJ Harvey fits. It's not someone I'm excited to play.
You can do something like Jacobs Dowdle or Jacobs Warren or something like that too.
Yeah. Harvey's not someone I'm excited to play, but if he makes it work, I'm just going to hold my nose and cross my fingers.
On DraftKings. I think you got, if you're playing Harvey, is DraftKings. It's a DraftKings play.
For sure.
Pulling up his price right now. I think it's in the 5s, right?
And it's a bummer that it's a bummer we won't get DeMercado, because DeMercado at the same salary as Sean Tucker and right underneath RJ Harvey would have been real interesting.
Is Benson going to be active?
No, but Bam Knight practiced today.
Oh, okay. That sucks.
Yeah, because we would have, I think, really liked DeMercado. He's kind of still mildly interesting in that, because like his role's not going to be drastically different from a touch count, I think, far off from Harvey's or like Sean Tucker's. And without Mekhi Williams on the field, the 49ers have been smoked on the ground.
4-5 on DK. Looks like an interesting dart, if nothing else.
I do think he's interesting. We would have loved for Bam Knight not. Maybe Bam Knight playing or practicing maybe is a blessing in his side, but the 49ers defense though, like they have no dudes. Like they're bad against everything right now. If you look at like the 49ers
again, or no, and every weekend like the
they lost Michael Williams the week before.
Yeah.
But if you look at like any metric over like the past 6 weeks, like they're terrible against the pass, they're terrible at rushing the passer, they're terrible against the run. Like it's just like they just don't have, because they're playing just all backups.
Yeah. We'll be talking about again Trey McBride soon enough. Let's knock out some receivers first. Daigle, lead us off.
All right, let's try to. Well, I'll start with the good ones before we get the terrible ones. Ladd McConkey and Quentin Johnston, I mentioned them earlier. Reeves said Herbert was also on my list, but I just thought he played less of a priority to the cheap quarterbacks. Jaguars, though, are the only team allowing 20 fantasy points per game to outside wide receivers. That's where Quentin Johnston, he's come back and he's run 83% of his routes from. Ladd McConkey, just look at the box scores. It's literally that simple, where the dude just hones in 20% of the team's targets over the last month as he has emerged as their wide receiver one. So I like those two, may even one off McConkey or Johnston without Herbert and builds as well. I talked about Greg Dortch earlier. So no Zay Jones is also key for no Marvin Harrison Jr., despite the fact we want to play the Cardinals offense in general against this banged up 49ers defense. And Michael Wilson will absolutely be out there, but 163 wide receivers have run 100 routes in the league. Michael Wilson is 142nd and 12% target per route run rate. He just doesn't earn targets, or at least in a small sample. Greg Dortch even has played 11 career games, 70% of the snaps, and he has 4 targets in every single one of them. He at least doesn't let you down, because anytime he plays, he can earn targets. So I do like cheapy Greg Dortch in 2 wide receiver sets as well. And then the other one we've been waiting on, similar to Jalen Noel, like we know these guys are NFL players. It really just comes down to their coaching staff. I don't blame Ben Johnson for not playing Luther Burden to this point. Like he's been blocked. He had a preseason injury. So we're really just getting to develop. But Burden has shown that anytime he's on the field, he deserves to be on the field. He's literally top 5 in yards per route run from both out wide and the slot, wherever they want to play him. And so we're waiting on the injury report. Romo Odunze was DNP Wednesday. DJ Moore, who is battling a significant shoulder injury, was DNP as well. So if we get that opportunity, that's just cheap Luther Burden we can plug in as well. So I think Dortch and Burden are the two guys I'm monitoring here.
Can you tell me who Xavier Weaver is? Because he's got a projection. Yeah. Is he somebody I should be aware of? Is he live?
Preseason hero Xavier Weaver. He's super fast. He's not caught a pass in the NFL yet, but he's really fast.
25 years old, undrafted. I don't know much about him, but we're projecting him like 7 fantasy points, which is, something at 3K.
Yeah, the other thing too that we're probably going to see Arizona do a lot of is play a lot of 2-3 tight ends with Elijah Higgins. So we're probably going to see a lot of Higgins has actually been on the field the most on snaps with Harrison off the field this year. He's been on the field it's 44% of the dropbacks, but he's actually drawn a target on 20% of those routes with 1.8 yards per route run. The problem is we can't play him at receiver. That's the bummer.
And you can't blame him over McBride either.
Right. Yeah. That's the bummer. But yeah, I kind of lean Dortch too. I have no problem if just people are just taking the one-off on Wilson and just saying, hey, at least know this dude's going to be out there exercising and I'll just let the fantasy gods take the wheel. I get it. But I kind of like Dortch a little bit more too, of the Arizona guys, of the punts.
Also, Dortch, the 49ers still allowing the most points from the slot. So you have outs where even if Xavier Weaver or Higgins box out Dortch into the slot, he can still get there if he's playing more, just because we're removing 2 bodies from their target tree.
We'll give you an occasional run. One way to kind of suck out every once in a while. You can't really count on it, but it can happen. Rich, who do you have?
It's week 11, by the way.
I mean, to be honest, we don't know what's going to happen outside of McBride, but the Cardinals feel very key to this slate. Yep. One of these jamokes, whether it be DeMercado or the ancillary jabronis, as we used to call them. One of these guys feels important?
What if it's negative game script and Brissett, DeMercado, and Dortch all get there? Now we're cooking.
There you go. And don't forget about Xavier Weaver, who I just learned about.
Oh, I forgot.
yeah, Xavier Weaver.
Rich, who else is on your list?
I also had Quentin Johnson on my list. I like that. What you like about now, we now have 2 games now where the Chargers have reduced their depth of target, and when the quick passing game was kind of all the splits were getting thrown out, people were like, well, this is going to be terrible for Quentin Johnston. But we do have two game sample now where his two highest target total games this season have come in their games where Joe Alt left early or he missed entirely. The fact that he got 6 targets at or behind the line of scrimmage on Sunday night, this is a player they still want to get the football. So add some confidence, I think, to him. Now he's still going to be volatile. There's going to definitely be Quentin Johnson weeks where you're holding the bag, but this feels like a spot where against the pass funnel, a team that's getting smoked by outside receivers, this would be a spot where you can chase it a little bit. Let's see. We talked about the Arizona guys. If we're going to play Jonathan James, I do think Justin Jefferson is interesting this week.
Sure.
Because, he's obviously going to get overshadowed by the guys everyone wants to pay up for. I want to pay up for too. But targets have not been an issue for Justin Jefferson. In JJ McCarthy's 4 games, 35%, 29%, 39%, 29% of the targets. The problem is 24% of his targets have been inaccurate. Not great. JJ McCarthy last week, 7 of 23 throwing the football to Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison.
Oh, that's
not great. That's not what you want. But he's facing the Bears, who are 28th in points allowed per game to wide receiver ones. They've allowed 16 receptions to wide receivers and throws 20 or more yards downfield. That's 31st. They are also 31st in rate of completions allowed to wide receivers on 10 or more yards downfield. They just give up production to everybody. So if we're going to play JJ McCarthy, I think we got to go to the guys at least going to throw the football to a third of the time.
Every season-long show you record or listen to, they always mention about the Vikings and their playoff schedule, including the Cowboys, and how everyone is better against the Cowboys, which I also say, but JJ McCarthy's making me question it. We're gonna really see about JJ McCarthy when he plays Dallas.
I mean, to be fair, he's got 4 career starts.
4 career starts. I know.
He's got 4 career starts, and he's got Kevin O'Connell. Like I'm still like.
I mean, they've been bad. They've been really bad. 4 starts. Yeah.
Well, he doesn't help himself either with this alter persona or whatever 9 is or whatever this thing is.
Do we like?
I'm only referring to him as by his government though. Jonathan James. you got to earn the abbreviation.
You got to earn the JJ. Do we like anybody in Kansas City? We haven't mentioned. I understand it's a tough matchup in Denver. Is there anything that we can see that maybe is kind of sneaky here, Rich, KC, or it's just check back next week?
No, you can still keep playing Rashee Rice. Since Pat Surtain's been out, the Broncos have shifted from man personnel. They've actually had their 2 lowest man coverage rates since Patrick Surtain's been out, playing a lot more too high to insulate themselves. Alex Singleton's also going to be out for the Broncos. So they're down a couple starters. But the shift to more zone coverage just plays right in the hands of Rashee Rice. Now, I don't know how much ceilings here, but they've given up really solid games recently to like CeeDee Lamb, George Pickens, Nico Collins. No ceiling breakers, so you kind of need that at his salary. But I do think Rashee Rice is probably going to catch a lot more passes again this week.
He's just so hard to click because he's basically the same price, not as JSN. And
I do prefer JSN to those other guys.
Yeah. But that's the game we're playing, though. We're talking about that you're getting the added benefit of minimal.
Also, I mean, the last time we saw the Chiefs, man, like Matt Nagy. Like, what are we doing, man? I know they've talked all year about the Chiefs have talked about it nauseum all summer. Like, we're going to throw the football downfield. We're going to throw the football downfield here. And they have, and they've been a lot more successful. But like Sean McDermott came into that game and was like, hey, we know you want to throw the football downfield. So like, what if we just take that all away? The Bills in that game used 6 defensive backs on 70% of their snaps. That was the second highest rate for any team in a game this season. They only blitzed Mahomes on 7.9% of his dropbacks. They played a 2-man front on a season high 22% of their snaps. So what do you need to do against that? Quick passing game, throw underneath. What did the Chiefs do? Nah, man. Mahomes averaged 15 air yards per target in that game. A season high 56% of his passes were thrown 10 or more yards downfield, and 33% went 20 or more yards downfield. The season average is 14%. Like, no in-game calibration. Like, every drop back was Mahomes holding the ball, trying to get downfield, creating his own pressures. It was very frustrating to watch that game, and no adjustment made by a team coached by Andy Reid. Extremely frustrating. The one wild card here, though, in this game for Mahomes is Mahomes has been absolutely ass under pressure this year. He's completed 42% of his passes under pressure. It's 27th in the league. The only quarterback that has a higher inaccurate throw rate under pressure this season than Patrick Mahomes is Caleb Williams. And
that's not good.
Denver's still getting pressure on the quarterback. Like, they're still 3rd in pressure rate. Mahomes faced this defense once last year, and they got all over him. It's like this is still a team that can get pressure. That's the wild card here.
You think like KC, Buffalo, KC side especially, maybe the way you're talking, they game plan next level when they face each other, knowing that maybe they're going to face each other later on in the season, and there's kind of a not that they're tanking this game off, but maybe they don't want to show everything.
I kind of think Chiefs game plan was so weird. Not that I'm going to play them against the Broncos anyways. I'm just not excited about the game script, but I do think they left a lot off the table personally.
Intentionally, maybe.
Yes. That was that win is going to matter. That game's going to matter for a lot of things for the Chiefs. Okay. For once, like that game was important.
Yeah, I guess that's also part of it because Casey, they're not fully in danger of missing the playoffs, but you're right. They can't just like punt off games in theory.
And look at their schedule. Like, I mean, the Chiefs are about to go through a gauntlet here, man. Like, they play some good teams.
All right. Well, since you say it now, I feel like I have to pull it up. All right. They're facing Denver now, right? Then the Colts, then not the Cowboys, Houston, Chargers, Titans, Broncos. Oh, wait. Are those games they've already played? No, that's what they have. Yeah, they're 5-4, and they're going to face 1, 2, 3, 4 teams that are tracking to make the playoffs over the remaining games. Houston's got a good enough defense to at least be a wild card. They're going to smoke Dallas and the Titans. Yeah. Anybody else start as far as receivers, or shall we knock out the old tight ends?
This is a huge game for them, though, this weekend in Denver.
Are they dogs like favorites? What are we?
They are three. They're 3.5-point favorites, I think.
I think it was 2.5. They opened it like 4. Yeah, and it's since sunk.
And the Andy Reid off of bye stuff hasn't been true, Reese. I think that he's 6-6 with the Chiefs off of bye.
Interesting.
I'll tell you, at least it's at home for RJ Harvey, and the Chiefs have leaked a little bit more to running games. They're still a stout run defense, but they are loosening up a bit.
I have no faith in Bo Nix beating Patrick Mahomes, but
yeah,
still it could.
That was my first thought. Ooh, Denver's interesting, and then oh wait, yeah, Nix. Maybe not. Maybe just bet the under. Maybe bet.
But that's a big game. That game is going to be going on same that. It might not be as exciting for fantasy football stance, but that game is absolutely massive for playoff stuff.
I'm most excited about even the couple weeks ago when we got Chiefs Bills. I'm most excited about Rams Seahawks more than I've been excited about any game all year long. I think it's a legit game. Also, it's not on the slate, but Eagles Lions.
Yeah,
that's the nightcap is Eagles Lions.
I say it's not on the slate, but Eagles Lions in an old FanDuel tournament would be fun.
and Dan Campbell's whole plan was what if I just called all the plays we called last year?
Yeah.
He's back calling plays for Detroit.
All the things he did in that game. Now, granted, it was the Commanders, and you could probably do whatever you want to them at this point. But all the stuff that they did when Dan Campbell took over, it was all the things they did last year. The backfield rotation was back to where it was last year. They used Jameson Williams in the same capacity they used him last year. It was all the same stuff. Goff played under center at a higher rate, used his highest rate of play actions. Oh yeah, what if we just went back to all the things that work for us?
Just a coincidence that he said this is the week against Washington. I'm going to become the play caller for sure. Just kind of worked out for him. Okay, tight ends. We've kind of danced around this and mentioned it several times, but Trey McBride should see just an absolute absurd amount of balls thrown his way. Rich, I assume you like McBride. If not McBride, who do we like this week as far as tight end?
Yeah, we like McBride. Yeah, if you can jam him in. Yeah, so you look at Trey McBride. Since Jacoby Brissett's taken over, only Jamar Chase has more catches than Trey McBride. He's targeted on 32% of his throws. That leads all tight ends, 5th among all pass catchers. This would have been a great spot to have Brock Bowers on this main slate against the Cowboys.
We can't do that. We can't add him to JSN and everyone.
Oh, man. Yeah, that would be fun. So, if you have the salary to do it, he's expensive. But
I'll add.
Go ahead.
I'll tack on. We talked about some cheap punts. Like Rich said, dart throw, large field, Darnell Washington. I talked about Dawson Knox just being out there. I also like Oronde Gadsden. Maybe all the pieces lead to Justin Herbert nukes. Maybe that's what we're doing here. But Gadsden, I think, is interesting. The Jaguars have only played 2 games since they returned from their bye. And Devin Lloyd, who is literally PFF's #1 coverage linebacker, has been banged up. But tight ends have now 23 catches against them in just 2 games. Brock Bowers was responsible for 12 of those. But Dalton Schultz even last week, 20+% target share, 53 yards and a touchdown. They're just giving it up to tight ends. So Gadsden's route participation has increased. He was off the field. He was injured last week, but before that hit a season high route rate, basically just taking Keenan Allen routes outside of possession, chain moving plays. So yeah, I also like Gadsden a lot.
On FanDuel, Pitts has a pretty good price. He's $5K, assuming no jet lag. That's pretty fair. But yeah, you want to spend up for McBride. At least I do. If I have the salary, I'd be thrilled to do that. I see Theo Johnson's hitting some stuff, and Winston back there. We talk about Dawson Knox. He's also that's the 3 most popular guys that I'm seeing that I'm running is Theo Johnson, Trey McBride, and Dawson Knox right now on DK. Everybody else, 1% for Jonnu Smith there for you, Rich. Not even the right Pittsburgh tight end that you're looking for. Daigle, you got anybody else as far as tight ends?
He can leverage. He can 0.1% get leverage. There you go. No. The guys we talked about are literally all on my list. I understand why Kyle Pitts pops up. And to be fair, it may be a good spot since we talk about every week. Panthers can't rush the quarterback. Michael Penix is leading the league in air yards per target when he's operating from a clean pocket. So he'll launch it downfield at least. But it's probably a lot more Drake London, if anything. Oh, we also talked about, as Aaron Smith points out in the chat, Ferguson is a 1% large field punt as well, across from Darnold or JSN.
Is our tight end pool pretty small this week, it seems like? Is there anybody else that's going to kind of sneak in at this point, or that's our list at this point? I don't see a lot.
No Kittle for me. No, I think that's it. Honestly, lots of punts, if anything.
Is Knox the best punt?
Probably in terms of route participation.
Highest floor, like the safest, probably.
Yeah.
But if he becomes the cash game tight end, though, it's an easy to get off of.
He's 3-3 on DK. He might be. I think people they're going to try to find the money for McBride, I would imagine. But if they don't, they're probably going to just jump all the way down to Knox. I would assume that's how it's going to work out.
I mean, you have to pay if you're trying to get right now, at least early in the week, trying to get McBride in. Like you almost have to not play one of the good quarterbacks, which might be the way to play this, anyways.
Which is why McCarthy is popping,
right?
Yeah. I'm looking at our first optimal. Yeah, McCarthy's in the first several of the optimals that I have. This stuff, of course, can change dramatically, but yeah, that's kind of where we are at right now. Let's give the people a favorite stack, mini, an onslaught, whatever you're feeling on Wednesday before we segue to our movie. Rich, give me your favorite stack that you're seeing right now on Wednesday night.
I still probably am like Warren Chase. Just the mini of Warren Chase. If you want to play Flacco, I think that's fine. And then just the Viking stuff still, like McCarthy, Justin Jefferson, I still think is.
Daigle, just not to tell you who you're going to pick, but it sounds like it's the Chargers.
Yeah.
That's what I'm hearing, at least.
Yeah, Chargers are good. I also do I like Shaheed a lot. So I like Darnold doubles too. I don't know how I'm going to afford it or play it just yet. Again, if we're getting an ownership discount on Puka, if we think the game has volume, I don't mind taking on 9% Puka is something, even with on paper not being well, I'm just going to take that chance.
Yeah, I don't think we'll get 9, but I do think when we get to Sunday, JSN and Chase will be significantly more popular.
Yeah. I'll play around a little bit.
And then people are going to always try to get CMC in still.
And Greg Dortch. The king himself, Greg Dortch. I can't guarantee you, Kyle Williams, I was very confident about. Not as confident in Greg Dortch just because he could get Xavier Weavered, but I do legitimately like Greg Dortch. I'm probably going to play him.
I said the other day in a different show that the Rico Dowdle celebration was my favorite celebration of all time, with the 2 pumps and the post reaction. And, from what I learned from all the things I understand, we talk about every single week, 2 pumps is fine. But I still think you mentioned Dortch,
still too small.
Given the too small, down 40 on the touchdown is just incredible on multiple levels.
Yeah, we want guys like that on our squad.
Yeah,
because they're invested.
Especially when you're 5'6", like Greg.
Yes, yeah. Well, that's what I think. The irony is great. Like he should be allowed to do the too small.
100%.
Like,
who did he do it to? Do you remember?
I forget. It was a Rams player.
It was
right?
I remember it was a Rams cornerback. I just can't remember who.
It had to be somebody taller.
Oh yes, I'm positive. I'm pretty sure it was. But I also I'm fine. I think similar to last week, just playing one of these Arizona guys. I don't even care if you get anything out of it. But I do feel like someone outside of McBride's going to be important, whether it be DeMercado, Dortch, Wilson, Higgins, one of those dudes.
Yeah, I can see that.
Last week, and also being 2 2 tight ends, it doesn't seem like it's leaning that way this week. Maybe it will be. Maybe everyone plays Knox and another cheap tight end in order to get up to more expensive players. But it does seem like maybe cheap wide receiver will make an impact here.
Yeah, my first impulse was 3 running backs this week.
That's my general default. I don't know if that's correct or not correct, but I generally just default to 3 running backs. That's probably my cash game brain infiltrating. I want to get as many.
I mean, I've liked to play those. You soak up all those volume, and you get one high priced receiver that could just basically. Yep, that's the best, man.
Chad is saying Jameis and Slayton. Is this the first week Daigle has not recommended Slayton?
Well, he got hurt last week. He was a DMP today, so we may not get him. Also, again,
his second or third hamstring injury this year.
We talked about it last week too. It's that no one is run less pure than Slayton, who in an alternate universe has 100 yards and a touchdown in every game the last 6 weeks.
It's always something goofy that keeps him from it, but All right.
He had 80 receiving yards. They had a hamstring injury. It's like, God, this guy can't get there. Like,
he had
always something.
A sick one-handed catch, man.
Yeah, down the sideline.
Long term, I will be proven right that he's a very good player who deserves our money.
But if you're martingaling it, though, you might be broke at some point.
That's true. Yeah, I may not have enough money to prove it right.
Week 33, he finally gets there. It's like, well, I was broke on week 27. All right, let's do it. Let's seamlessly segue. Let's bring in. You heard TJ. TJ is going to jump in. We're going to be talking about Frankenstein. That's it. You got 95 minutes of a first look for week 11. If you're here just for the football, we appreciate y'all watching. Hit that like button, subscribe, turn on notifications, and enjoy the rest of your week. We have producer Rob also jumping in here, Rob Coakley. I don't know why I still call him producer Rob sometimes. Not necessarily. I know you can produce, but you're a man of many hats. Hometown Ghost Stories. You probably produced that, I'm guessing. I don't know. What's up, Rob? How are things? Sir, your mic is off.
Tough start.
No producer would do that. Come in without a mic.
Uh-oh.
Oh, you got the mic issue.
We have a mic issue with
Dean. You got to step it up as host. Throw it to someone else.
All right. Well, I wanted to give him a second chance, and we'll figure this out here on the fly. And I imagine like everybody's excited to talk about Frankenstein, but nobody is more excited to talk about Frankenstein than Rob. I would imagine.
Yeah,
who loves this word. So, TJ, what's up? How are things? Did you have any thoughts as far as you want to give one more thought as far as football? Anything first look wise on the slate?
Not really. You guys typically are my first look every week, and so I really start diving into my research after. Like, I'll listen to the show, I'll cut down a player pool a little bit, highlight some guys that I want to target, and then really start diving into my research Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday as I start doing my own shows. So this kind of was my first look, and so not a whole lot to add, other than I will be playing Brissett triple stacks with Michael Wilson, Greg Dortch, and Trey McBride.
Elijah Higgins.
It's cheap, and I tried it last week. Like the 2 tight end build again, the productions got there, and that's what won. But I tried to insulate the 2 tight end build and then spend up elsewhere. So I ended up on, like, in my single entry core at least, was Lamar Jackson with Mark Andrews and Isaiah Likely. And it's like, all right, I'm going to insulate the 2 cheap tight ends, hope that we get a scatter shooting Lamar Jackson game with 4 touchdowns against the Vikings. And by the way, they reached the red zone 5 times. Or no, 6 times. They just kicked 5 field goals. So we ultimately did not get the points for the Ravens. But I was trying to, and that's why I mentioned it in the past. Like, I know we've had a comment in the chat where it's like these guys don't talk about their plays, but we do. And I also think it's more important for us to talk about what won, because that teaches everyone more than me simply saying, like, I showed up with these bad plays. Like, I'm telling you what won so you can hopefully learn lessons from that.
I only played 2 lineups last week. One was the one I played against you guys, and it was literally just play as many lines as possible.
That's a good strategy. Great strategy.
We got there. TJ thought the whole day he was going to win this movie.
I thought I had it in the bag. I truly felt like I got everything right last week except for Achane and Gibbs.
Yeah.
Like literally all my stacks smashed. I got my cheap QBs paired with the right expensive guys, and then just no Achane or Gibbs.
I play Gibbs everywhere too, but unfortunately I played Gibbs the pivot off Achane. So what do I know?
I mean, that still kind of worked though, didn't it? Like it was
no, because you needed Gibbs and Achane. You needed to get off Christian McCaffrey because that was like a 35-point difference.
Yeah, I played Achane with Dowdle.
I did Judkins Dowdle, and
Dowdle was good.
That's what hurt so bad.
I mean,
Dowdle was the same price as Henderson and Achane. And both Henderson and Achane were in my 6-player pool of running backs. And so I was just like, if in my main lineup I swapped it to those 2, it would have been,
and I had Henderson in my player pool until Saturday night, and I cut him. Like he was like the last running back chop. And damn it.
I talked about what won the Millie, the Drake May single stack with all the Bucks coming back. The mid-sized like single Wildcat at 333, the $200 spy. The winner was Bucks Nukes with Henderson coming back. So it was all kind of pivots about just trying to insulate that game.
I finished second in the 1st and 10 without Achane, which is I don't know how I pulled that off.
You had Lions, right? You had a Lions team.
That was Goff with Gibbs and JMO.
Yeah,
that's why I was tilting earlier about that these guys getting pulled a little bit early showed mercy against Washington. Maybe it had to be like an in-division opponent, and then Campbell all of a sudden would slit the throat. But yeah, so there was a moment there. There was a moment close to the end when we were winning some stuff, and it was still a really, really good week. All right, Rob, round 2. Rob, welcome to the show. You're good to go.
The one time I don't do the mic check before the show to make sure that I'm up and going. I thought I was going to be rich last week because I was doing Achane and Henderson and Gibbs on all my lineups in some form or fashion. And
what happened?
Well, they weren't all together always, so it was just we made money, but we didn't get rich. I still have to do this show tonight.
All right, this week's movie. We're officially done with football now. That's it. We're done with football.
We didn't get rich, so now I still got to talk Frankenstein with my friends on a Wednesday night.
Yes, when you're too rich, you don't have friends anymore. I don't know if you know this.
Spoilers are going to happen. This is a brand new movie on Netflix, so we're going to spoil it. So, if you don't want any spoilers, feel free to just click off. We appreciate it. You giving the listen. Frankenstein, I'll give you the synopsis if you're not aware. Oscar-winning director Guillermo del Toro adapts Mary Shelley's classic tale of Victor Frankenstein, a brilliant but egotistical scientist who brings a creature to life in a monstrous experiment that ultimately leads to the undoing of both the creator and his tragic creation. It stars Oscar Isaac. Mia Goth plays 2 characters, if you guys, I'm sure you picked up on that. And Christoph Waltz, as well as the dude from Saltburn, Jacob Elordi, plays the creature. He's like 6'5" or so he pulled that off. Rich, this is your pick, correct? I believe you won back-to-back. This is you picked this last week, and you're picking going forward?
I think Daigle won the week before.
Oh yeah, I picked House of Dynamite, which is forgettable. That's why we are talking about Frankenstein, and then we just continued down the path of picking movies we were going to watch anyways that weekend, which is a good path, by the way.
I will say 600% more dynamite in this movie than House of Dynamite.
That's literally true. Literally true. Yeah.
The big facts.
It's a good start. Rob, this is your wheelhouse. I feel like I should yield to you first because horror is just your genre. I would imagine you were probably looking forward to this more than anybody else.
And discuss if this relates to the book. I come into these things ignorant, and I'm just curious if this is what the book is.
There's a lot of changes from the book in this. I mean, there is a blueprint from the book for this movie, but Guillermo del Toro, I think I was reading an interview where he said that he sort of looks at Frankenstein as his Bible, and he sort of always used that to help him with other movies. So he's always wanted to make this particular movie. And although he made a lot of changes, it still has the essence of it, is what I will say for the book. Mm-hmm. And I'll also say it's been a long time since I've read the book, but there are significant changes. Elizabeth's character is much better represented in the movie than in the book. So I think that changes that he made really work for the movie. But when you get a Guillermo del Toro movie, you are going to get phenomenal cinematography. Mm-hmm. And there's not a better looking movie than this year. And it's funny, the best 2 looking movies of the year are technically horror movies, which is Sinners and this, in my opinion. And last year, Nosferatu was just incredible with the cinematography. So I love this movie. I thought it was great. The one thing I was concerned about while watching it was Oscar Isaac's performance. I wasn't feeling it in the beginning, but as the movie progressed, I really liked what he did as the movie progressed with the character. So he won me over by the end, but I was like on the fence in the beginning with him. But overall, this movie is just a beautiful, great movie. It's not really a horror movie is the other thing. Like, I guess technically it is, like if you go back to when the book was written, but there's so much more in this movie than it being quote unquote horror.
It doesn't feel like a horror movie at all.
Right.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Rob, but wasn't like one of the biggest story changes from the book the kind of romance between Elizabeth and the monster?
Yeah. Again, her character just gets completely fleshed out in this more than she really doesn't do much in the book. And she's like pivotal in the movie.
Did that
That
feel
was
a
something I
little?
heard Guillermo del Toro talking about a little bit. Is just like of how he is just so much of like a romantic and loves the like some kind of monster and human type stories.
Shape of Water is what I was thinking of.
All of his movies are kind of like monster goth romances. Like
Yeah.
they like literally all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, as we learned last week, I did not see Pan's Labyrinth. I don't know what that's about. I'm not sure
Yet.
if that also confirms it.
And don't look it up what it's about. Go watch it after this.
Yeah, I haven't. I have not. I don't know anything. I have no clue what it's about.
Good.
I echo what Rob said, by the way. It looked incredible. The cinematography. You could like pause that movie at any moment, and it's like a beautiful picture, pretty much. No matter where, you could just stop anywhere. And that is a staple of Guillermo del Toro. It looked even if you're not into the story, it looks spectacular. 2.5 hours, Rich. We usually get upset when a movie's 2.5 hours. Was this worth 2.5 hours? Was that correct?
I actually think it probably could have been like 15 or 20 minutes longer. Just a little bit more. I think it. So let me ask you guys this: the book readers. Was it as black and white as in the movie, where like they kind of pushed the story to where like, you know, Oscar Isaac's character Victor Frankenstein is in the wrong and the creature is correct? Is it like clearly pushed in that direction, or is there more gray?
No, that's the moral of the book.
Yeah, I would have liked to seen like more more nuance, I think, in just that part of it. But like, this is, if you told me Guillermo del Toro was making Frankenstein, this is exactly what I thought it would be. Like, if you just told me like, I don't like, it's like production set, like going crazy, looks great. Like I said, the second act I thought kind of like was like rushed a little bit to kind of get to the conclusion, like sped forward. Thunderbolts does this a little bit too, where like Sentry just magically has his powers and like just does it, like there's no like, it's just like, man, we could have used a little bit more like to get there. I would have liked to see more of that. And then it has a little bit of like a Disney type of ending, like a little happy ending, like a little sappy. But other than that, like it's rock solid, what I expected, and I was happy we watched it.
Even though the ending is framed to be feel good, but if you zoom out, the creature still is living in hell because he can't die. So like he's resolved of his sins for forgiving the creator, but I felt like it was a Greek tragedy where like I was still sad at the end. I was like, this sucks. This good guy, this good monster just continues living on for the rest of eternity with nothing in sight. He's just in hell.
Yeah, like it was framed hopefully of like, live. If you do one thing while you're alive, live. But he didn't, nothing changed. And he's still walking around as a monster.
And he has to live forever.
Yeah, but you guys are missing the point of the whole ship captain thing. The whole point of the ship captain is the monster is creating change now because he told his story, and the ship captain was, in essence, Oscar Isaac, like as a ship captain. And after hearing the tale of how Frankenstein, the doctor, you know, was just so hell-bent on doing one thing, after listening to the monster and seeing what happened in the struggle, he changed that captain's mind. He gave him a little push in the right direction, metaphorically and physically,
as well.
right? Yeah.
Thematically, I agree with you 100%. I'm more so looking at it like a joke. Okay, what happens next in this story? Well, how many people are going to sit down and let him tell his story? They're going to just attack him. Like, storytelling wise, I agree with you. I was more of just looking at it like a joking sense of, man, this guy's still gonna have a pretty shitty life.
That's what I think. I think it's hell.
One of the first things he did, he was like afraid of the sun. Remember, he was like afraid of the sun. And the last thing you saw was him embracing the sun.
Yeah,
I assume that was pretty intentional. That was the last scene, like the sun kind of baking over him, essentially. By the way,
that could be said for Frankenstein in the movie as well.
Also, Oscar Isaac played this character already once.
What movie?
In Ex Machina. He literally was. He was Victor Frankenstein in Ex Machina.
When I heard him at the beginning of this movie, all I could hear was the voice from X-Men: Age of Apocalypse. Like that was Apocalypse voice. That was the same voice that he was doing for like on the deathbed Victor Frankenstein and Apocalypse from the X-Men movies. I couldn't get it out of my head.
I just kept thinking the whole time, I was like, how did they not get Pedro Pascal for this? Like you know, just like how did he not get in this movie too?
He was building. Yeah, he was busy filming 14 other movies. Unfortunately,
it was nice
to have a break.
what was the guy's name? The guy that was like funding him?
Christoph Waltz.
Yeah.
No, but the character I meant.
Harlander.
Harlander, yeah, he could have been that Harlander guy. I thought it was funny that Christoph Waltz was just literally in the last season of Only Murders in the
Only
Building.
Murders.
And his whole arc is he's a billionaire who doesn't want to ever die, and so he's just investing in all these different ways to not die. Same character.
Love Christoph Waltz for greatest character of all time in the history of cinema. Well, greatest villain of all time in the history of cinema. Landa? Anybody? No? We agree? We disagree?
Oh,
Okay.
well, not the best of all time, but amazing. Yeah, of course.
It's on the Family Feud board of best villain.
Sure. And did you know?
Glorious Bastards guy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you know Tarantino told him to calm down because like he hammed it up even more?
No.
Yeah. Yeah. He had to tell him to like back up a little bit because like he was stealing too much. He was so good at it.
I just know Tarantino talked about trashing the movie because he couldn't find somebody to cast. He's like, this part is too hard and nobody can speak all these languages and have this kind of charisma. And then he found Waltz. He's like, okay, we're making a movie. But he almost trashed it.
This
Supposedly.
Off topic, but I just thought of it when you thought of Quentin Tarantino, and I had just listened to it, and I thought it was one of the like funniest unexpected jokes I had ever heard. And I was listening to Amy Poehler's podcast recently, The Good Hangs. I've been tuning into that a fair amount. She just recently had Maya Hawke on, and Maya Hawke is of course the daughter of Ethan Hawke and Uma Thurman, and so she was one of the like Manson kids in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and which still look watching that movie and seeing who the Manson kids are is like the craziest things ever because they're literally all megastars now.
Mickey Madison, Sydney Sweeney.
Yeah, what's her face? From Substance, Margaret Qualley.
Yes.
Like it's all of them. Maya Hawke, and so she like Amy Poehler asked her. She was like, "So what is one piece of advice your mom gave you? Your mom Uma Thurman gave you before you worked with Quentin Tarantino?" And without missing a beat, she just goes, "Always keep your shoes on.
No.
Never take your shoes off." And it got me so good. I spat my drink out as I was listening to this podcast.
That's Tarantino. That's what Tarantino's into. Every movie, you'll see it at some point. Yeah. By the way, I didn't read the book. I don't know if you guys couldn't piece that together. I have very little backdrop. I've seen.
That's why I asked Rob, just because I haven't either.
Yeah. If I have any sort of thing I draw from, Mel Brooks's Young Frankenstein is what I think of. And like, again, I know it was a comedy and all that kind of stuff, but with Gene Wilder.
So you saw two different movies then, because if you're drawing from that, that's just not it.
One's like a joke, but
yeah.
I was also thinking like the Gene Hackman character has like that one scene in Young Frankenstein. I guess that character is real. The old man who was blind. He was blind. I guess he had soup in Young Frankenstein. But this one, they built the whole thing out of him with his family and the wolves. So that's like, I guess that was like Mel Brooks was drawing for the original story as well too. I guess that was.
Well, Gene Wilder wrote that movie. If you guys don't know the backstory on that, that's the only movie that Mel Brooks did that he didn't act in. And
didn't know that.
And do you want to know why he didn't act in it? Because Gene Wilder told him he couldn't.
Really?
He's like, if we make this movie, you cannot act in this movie, because he knew that it would take the audience out of it, because every character had to be played straight. And he knew that Mel Brooks was sort of incapable of that, and it would take the audience out of it. Yeah. So when he wrote the movie and brought it to Mel Brooks, he's like, I have a few requests. I want to make this movie. I want you to not act in it, and I need it to be in black and white.
Yeah.
And that was his request for that.
I'm also curious, Rob, how does the depiction of this version of Frankenstein differ from whatever you think is the previous best depiction of Frankenstein? Because I haven't seen many Frankenstein movies either, but I know I didn't expect this, like something to be hauntingly beautiful, which is how I describe this movie. And so I'm curious, like, what was different here that made it different from the past?
So I mean, like, if you're going Frankenstein, you're probably like everyone's main depiction, which is funny because I bet a lot of people now haven't actually seen the movie, but it's Boris Karloff from the 30s is probably like the most well-known depiction of Frankenstein. And if you watch that movie, and God, not only have I not read the book in years, I haven't watched that movie in years, but that character, he's gaining his humanity but he never gains it like he does in this movie, right? It's still more, it's there, but he doesn't know his own strength and stuff. I mean, there's the whole scene with the child. He actually kills like the girl by the lake on accident. That's why the people come with the pitchforks and everything like that, because he doesn't know his own strength. He's just trying to play with this girl, trying to show that. And I thought they were going to do that at some points in this movie when he's just saying Victor, Victor, Victor.
I would have liked that added on.
Yeah. So there could have done stuff like that, but I like this depiction. I actually really like this depiction of it. I mean, there's the weird Robert De Niro one from the 90s that you could go back and watch as well. That was fine. That took more from the book than most do, but I think I really like this depiction a lot. And then everything after the original Boris Karloff one got pretty hammy with like Frankenstein versus the Wolfman and stuff like that. So like there's so many
movies.
Yeah. So what I will say is they were doing the whole Universal Monster reboot, the Dark Universe thing that they were trying to get off the ground. They tried 2 launches with that between Dracula Untold and the Mummy version of with Tom Cruise that both failed horribly. If those 2 movies had to fail for this one to get made, then thank God, right? Like, because this movie is awesome, and I'm happy with it.
I default to like you picture Frankenstein, I picture the bolts. Do you guys also default and picture bolts in the neck, or is that just me?
Yeah, that's Boris Karloff.
Okay, so like I didn't know if this guy was going to have bolts or
Scooby-Doo.
not. What's that, TJ?
It's also Scooby-Doo.
Scooby-Doo's got bolts in his neck?
No, there's a
No,
Frankenstein in a
Frankenstein.
Scooby-Doo Halloween movie where he's got the bolts.
Oh.
You default to green marine flat top Frankenstein, who for some reason is wearing a sports coat as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that not where people mostly default to?
That's what I also default to.
Yeah, I mean, like again, that's the Boris Karloff one.
And I could also turn that off though and say, we're just looking for a monster. Frankenstein's a monster. I get that. I did not expect him to come out like this, but I also love the evolving character of it.
The only problem with the depiction, like the makeup and stuff of the character, is somebody I saw put up a post. Do you remember the Gautier song? Somebody that I used to know.
Sure.
The music video for that. I saw someone put a picture of that music video and said Frankenstein 2025. I was like, God damn it! It does kind of look like the Frankenstein in this. But yeah.
Do we have anything else here, boys, as far as commentary? It sounds like we all liked it to various degrees.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else that's worth noting, or shall we just play the old Rotten Tomatoes game?
I haven't actually given thoughts on it, but I don't have much more than because I kind of just interjected with everybody else's. But I enjoyed it a ton as well. I thought this was one of the better movies that I've seen in 2025, and I'll watch anything with Oscar Isaac in it anyways, and so that was kind of like a delight to see him be all kooky throughout this movie. But I thought it was really good. I thought it kind of stayed true to. I haven't read the book, and I actually don't know the events that happen within the book, but I've read a lot of critical analysis on it about the themes and things like that. And so I thought they hit the important aspects that they were supposed to stay true to, and adapted the things that felt within creative liberties to do. So I really enjoyed it. I thought it was one of the better movies of the year.
I like that they brought back the father-son element from his childhood too. Because he basically just turned into his father, who he hated.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
That's. I felt like a lot of the takeaways here, cinematically at least, were pretty on the nose, and that doesn't take away from them. But like the son that Dean mentioned, pretty on the nose from the very beginning of opening the curtains. Yes, becoming your dad, very on the nose of just like the person you hate the most. I think those were quite obvious.
Well, the dad was Tyrion Lannister from Game of Thrones.
Yes,
always a pleasure to see him as well.
Yeah, I was happy to see him. He was charming as always. All right, let's give our rankings. Let's do it. Let's play the Rotten Tomatoes game. Rich, you're going to go first. What is the critic score? What is the audience score? Probably not a huge number, just because the movie just came out. Let's see how many actual votes. We have 310 critics and over 1,000 audience members. So that's what we got as far as our sample size. Go for it, Rich.
I don't see how this isn't high on the Rotten Tomatoes meter, because it who's thumbs downing this, even if you have nits to pick. So I'll say 90% critics and 95% audience right now.
All right. Daigle, what do you got?
Yeah, it's probably high on both. And like you said, we don't have many, but I can't get higher than 95, 96. So I guess I got to go leave some middle room to trick some people. So let's go 92 and 93.
TJ?
I think critics could be a little lower on this one because it was a festival movie. And so I think there were probably a lot of people reviewing this that it's not their jam and it could not be their thing. And so I still think probably people like it, but maybe not quite as high as the audience. So I'll go 88 critics and 96 audience.
Rob?
94 critics, 98 audience is what I'm going to go.
86 critics. A little lower than I thought.
Shockingly low.
Yeah. 95. Rich got it. 95 on the nose.
It's a movie a ton of people saw at festivals, and so I think that's why. It's like it's not a movie that people were seeing because they wanted to see it. People were seeing it because that's what got put in front of them.
Okay. IMDb 1 through 10. Rob, what do you got?
Oh, it's so new. It's going to be 7.6.
Oh, that was mine.
TJ?
7.5.
Here we go. Here we go.
7-1.
Rich?
I gotta go 7-7 for that.
Well, the game was ruined right away. Rob got it. 7-6.
I binged it on the open.
Yeah. He didn't leave any there's no wiggle room there to be had.
Yeah, I was just playing the game.
I almost went 7.5 too.
7.6 was what I wanted.
Let's go ahead and give it a score. Rob, do you have a score 1 through 5? Are we gonna hit the fours?
I'm gonna go to 5.
Woo! Whoa!
I mean, what do I not? What more do I want from this movie? Like it gives a great character arc for its two main characters, the monster and Oscar Isaac. It has a strong supporting cast. Everyone plays their roles really well. The cinematography is amazing in this movie. It makes a 2.5 hour movie move. Like you feel like you're sitting there. You want more. As Rich said, there's more meat on the bone that you could have even done on this. I like the subtleties behind a lot of stuff like this, like stuff that we didn't even talk about with Elizabeth just constantly calling out Victor's character, even when he seems sincere, when she knows that he's lying and stuff like that. So like every character has depth in this, including minor characters like his father, like the brother. I have nothing negative to say about it. The only thing that was going to detract was I wasn't wild about Oscar Isaac in the beginning of the movie, but after watching the progression of the character, I just think that he actually did nail it, and I just got to give it a 5.
It's also
go ahead.
It's weird because it feels 2.5 hours, but you're not upset by that because you need all 2.5 hours. It's just not like an action-packed 2.5 hours. Like we got to build characters, we got to build stories here. We got to tell 2 different stories in the first and back half of the movie. And so like it definitely was 2.5 hours, but I'm not even upset by that. Like I needed all of that.
Right.
Rob, how often do you give out a 5? I just feel like this might be your first 5 ever on the show.
It might be my first 5 on this show. I don't give them out often.
I don't think you've had a 5 ever.
Yeah.
Yeah. The only other movie
what's the most recent 5? Last couple 5s you got?
The only other 5 I've given out this year is Sinners.
Okay. Yeah. Just a couple. Yeah. And we're almost done with the year. So
yeah,
that's good company for sure. TJ, superhero.
I gave this, for what it's worth, a 5 on Letterboxd as well. Big fan of this movie. One of the best ones of the year. I think Oscar Isaac is one of the finest living actors on planet Earth right now. I just think he's incredible. In terms of, I wasn't creative in terms of what comic book character I am giving this, because I'm giving it Frankenstein. Frankenstein is a DC character. Frankenstein's monster is a Marvel character. Can you guess who plays the Frankenstein monster in the DC universe? Anyone?
Not me.
It's David Hribar. David Hribar is Frankenstein in DC. So there you go.
Daigle, wrestler.
I mean, you could keep it on the nose and go monster wrestler. You go a little bit deeper and talk about someone who, the direction I'm going to go is someone whose career, like the movie, like the monster, started out as a monster, but it blossomed into something far more beautiful than that. And so to take you on a quick journey, Daniel Bryan initially started out as a wrestler who was small, long hair, a beard, that WWE, Vince McMahon in particular, never wanted to champion, ever. He comes back, he returns as one of the leaders of Nexus, which is like the 5 NXT, kind of their Survivor Series, 5 NXT minor league wrestlers versus WWE wrestlers. And he's one of the final guys in that match. And they eventually, because the fans love him so much because they understand how good he was, they eventually build him up. He wins Money in the Bank. He cashes in. He wins the championship. But literally after he wins the championship, Daniel Bryan, Triple H as a special referee turns on him, and Randy Orton instead pins Daniel Bryan because, again, WWE never wanted this individual who was too small and not envisioned as a quote-unquote champion to ever get on top. But because of that, they book him incorrectly going to WrestleMania. They book him against Triple H, and the fans every single week are chanting, literally starting a riot, like a Luka trade almost, because we don't want Nico Harrison. We want Daniel Bryan. That's our guy, the voice of the voiceless. That is our man. So much so that they literally changed the storyline for WrestleMania. They don't have a choice because everyone's so pissed off. And they say, okay, well, Daniel Bryan, if you beat Triple H, then you can go on to the main event of WrestleMania later that night, same 2 matches, same night, and fight for the championship against Randy Orton and Batista. Eventually, Daniel Bryan, that's WrestleMania 30 in New Orleans, the greatest WrestleMania of all time. Not Rock Stone Cold, by the way. It was 30 because that's when Cesaro also won the Andre the Giant Memorial. Beside the point, though, is that Daniel Bryan was a monster that they didn't want to be good, did not want to overcome everything. And the promo for his championship match does actually have Imagine Dragons Monster in the background as the greatest promo of all time. You should YouTube right now. Maybe My Way, Limp Bizkit between Rock and Stone Cold has something to say about that.
I was going to fight.
The Monster is still better, though. Monster's better with Daniel Bryan. The moral of the story, besides me walking you through Daniel Bryan's career, is that this movie is Daniel Bryan.
Does Rob?
Are you going to say Rey Mysterio Jr. because he hates his dad?
You could have gone that direction, too.
With Dominic.
No, that's what I meant. Sorry. I forgot his name.
I like that answer. I was trying to think of somebody that started off with a role model figure and just kept getting turned on. The best I could do in that sense was Sting, Ric Flair, but I don't think that does justice. I think your Daniel Bryan one is better, but I also think that we now have to do, after football season, Daigle, me and you have to do a show where we rank every WrestleMania.
We could do that. Also, that could have been Hornswoggle since he looked at the Vince McMahon, his dad, and he got turned on. So
you can't make this movie for Hornswoggle.
Exactly. Hornswoggle Dean, by the way, was what was the Irish wrestler's name, Rob?
Didn't you do Hornswoggle? Wasn't Hornswoggle accused?
It was
he's Greg Dortch's favorite wrestler.
No, Hornswoggle was my grade on Happy. What am I looking for? What movie? Our favorite movie of all time.
Tiptoes.
Tiptoes, yeah. Hornswoggle. That's on the nose, but yeah, Hornswoggle was Tiptoes.
No one wants to know what Victor was drinking in the movie, and I think it was evaporated milk, right?
Yeah, I think it was milk.
Yeah.
I think milk was what they kept on drinking.
Yeah.
But it wasn't a promo, and I'm sure you saw this, Daigle. I'm sure you saw it, Rob, as well. And you don't have to be a wrestling fan to appreciate it, but Daniel Bryan's speech when he was forced to retire about gratitude is worth your time. It is incredible listening to. I remember listening to that. I think and that's something he didn't want to do. He was forced into doing it, right? And he was still he wanted to stress gratitude. I thought it was pretty amazing. I'm sure.
For that reason, I almost graded this movie as Kofi Kingston because he also started out always because of Vince McMahon, is a monster who's an individual from Ghana who they stereotyped into being a Jamaican character, but then he grew his way into also one of the greatest WrestleMania main events of all time and defeating Daniel Bryan. And that's why eventually all roads lead back to Daniel Bryan being the beautiful end of the story.
Rob is still biting his tongue. He does not agree that was the greatest WrestleMania.
No, I didn't say it's the greatest. I said it's one of the greatest, and he can't argue with that because it truly is one of the greatest.
No, again, we have to have this conversation. The other thing is, I'm reading the chat and notes saying that there must have been some alcohol in the milk, but no, that's another metaphor because of the mother situation. That's why he's drinking milk.
Yeah.
Oh, that was not on the. I didn't think about that actually.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Rich, you have a tight end?
We could have done 2 hours on this movie.
Yeah.
It's a great movie.
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack here. I think, like I said, I didn't read the book, so I didn't know. Like, I would have loved to see, like I said, some of the lines blurred a little bit in terms of the, like, the Adam and Eve conundrum, right? Like Adam full knows what he's doing wrong, but doesn't care. Like, the hubris of man, kind of, in a sense. I'd have liked to seen some more of that play out. Maybe a little more in the second act, the relationship of Elizabeth and the creature, to him getting like that mother angle from her instead of what Oscar Isaac's character lacked. But overall, it was hot. Had a good time. What's funny is this could have been another one. I think we had 3 or 4 where I could have used Gronk, but I'm just saving him for the perfect movie. So like now, I actually am going with, it's a layup here because I'm going with the tallest tight end in NFL history, Morris Stroud, 6-foot tight end from the Kansas City Chiefs, played in the 70s.
Morris Stroud is a layup?
Yeah.
I bet he's going to go Morris Stroud.
It's all who we thought he was going.
The tallest tight end, he's the biggest tight end in NFL history.
All right.
You guys don't know the biggest tight end in NFL history?
6'10" Morris Stroud. I just pulled it up.
Daigle and I can list every match in WrestleMania, but we did not know who the tallest tight end in NFL.
Well, I don't know. I don't know. You guys.
I
think the chat's unhappy with your Morris Stroud pick. Reeves. They want something more.
Listen, they're not familiar with my game.
He had 22 catches in 1971 for 454 yards, and he got in the box once.
Oh, this movie definitely has more than one touchdown, Rich. Come on.
No, transitive property for a tight end to have 500 yards in the 70s is like 2,000.
That's a Hall of Famer.
It's 2,000 receiving yards right now.
That's Priest Holmes. That's a Hall of Famer.
Jackson Smith and Jigba.
That's fair.
Is that Hank Stram? Is that the quarterback for KC at the time? I don't know. Does that sound right?
No, he was the head coach.
I wonder if AM radio at the time, like every time Morris Stroud had a reception, they were like, look at Jackson Smith and Jigba here, just leading the league with 452 receiving yards.
Imagine in the 70s being some like podunk dude that's never exercised, and this dude's 6'10", just dunking on you.
Morris Stroud has 3 catches today. We've never seen anything like it here.
New world record.
I'll give you 100 guesses. You'll tell me what you can't tell me what college he went to. He went to Clark. Yeah, he went to
Clark. That's not real. That's like a city. That's not a college. Like
it's a suburban. It was a JUCO for sure.
They just found a 6'10" dude and brought him to the stadium, and they were like, "What should we put for college? Just hometown."
Clark. How was he got recruited? He's 6'10". Like Notre Dame didn't recognize him. No school.
Because the linebacker he played against went to drive a taxi the same night.
Listen, why have we never had any other 6'10" offensive players since
because
this
they're
guy?
all in the NBA.
Yeah,
you have to wonder.
Wait, Harold Carmichael. So I wanted to cheat and use Harold Carmichael at first. Was my first initial reaction, but he was basically a wide receiver. Like he was a shitty tight end. He had to play wide receiver, but he was my first thought. I was like, 6'8", like a monster, man. Like the creature.
There are 100 players in the NBA who could be all pro pass catching tight ends. That's why.
Morris Stroud. Okay. Rich, you have to assign us a movie for next week. What do you got?
I do.
Dean, your score.
Oh, yeah. Give us your score.
I thought it was spectacular. Better than anticipated. Looked beautiful. Not my wheelhouse, but
you don't watch a lot of Del Toro movies, do you?
No, I've seen
this is like completely like this is
Pan
Del
Slapper.
Toro's. This is his jam. It's like
I love Boardwalk Alley, something alley, Broadway Alley.
Nightmare Alley.
You mixed it up last week too. It's Nightmare Alley. Yeah.
I never remember that title, but it's spectacular. I know it's something alley. Shape of Water was fine, but I'll never need to see it again. But yeah, this was really good. I will give it an 85 out of 100. 85. That's
It might be your highest score on the show.
It's very good. It's technically excellent. Okay.
Why don't we have a wiki of this show? Like
we should.
Someone go back and listen to every episode and catalog this.
Well, the same people are in the chat every week. The views obviously grow by Sunday, but the same people are in the chat. So we do need a librarian for sure. Because
I like when the chat watches the movie with us.
Yeah,
I do too.
The Bone Tomahawk thing was great. I know Notam's in here. Like
they only watch they only watch like the gory movies with us for some reason. They always tune in for Bone Tomahawk and Frankenstein, and they need to watch the shitty movies with us.
We didn't even talk about the gore in this movie too, which was
everywhere.
He ripped that wolf like
in half.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Are we going gore? Are we going into comedy? Where are we leaning, Rich? Do we get a choice, or have you already decided?
No, I have decided, and it's one that I've been wanting to rewatch, and I brought it up, I think, last year, and we never got to it. So we are going to watch Arrival.
Oh yeah.
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 One of Denise's first movie. Yeah, I think it came up, and like people were like, I haven't seen it. Like it was a thing, and I was like, I would like to rewatch it. So
I have said in the past, probably on the show actually, that is one of the best movies I've seen in the last decade. But in the last month, it made an appearance on How Did This Get Made? So I feel like maybe I would
that show.
Yeah, because apparently it's a joke. So I feel like I need to rewatch it. I don't know if like I was in an altered state of mind, but I feel like it's an intelligent movie. It may not be though. Maybe I was just stupid. I have no idea. So now I'm excited to rewatch it and find out.
Have we all seen it already?
It's like 10 years old, I think. It was one of Denise's first movies. Like
2016. Yeah, so about almost 10 years now. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing it again. I liked it, and I'm sure I missed some stuff, and it's one of those movies that you probably catch things.
That's what I was thinking too. It might have a whole different meaning than it did for 10 years ago in my life.
Yeah.
All right. So we're watching Arrival next week. Let us know in the comment section if you're aware of Morris Stroud. And also feel free to give us suggestions going forward.
Morris, day of the time.
And pick your favorite wrestling intro package as well while you're there.
Intro package meaning what? Like
promo package highlighting a match. The
It's
top
my way,
the top
dude.
two, Dean, are in whatever order Rob decides it is. My Way, which is Limp Bizkit My Way between Rock and the Stone Cold, their WrestleMania headliner, and their last WrestleMania headliner, and then Daniel Bryan WrestleMania 30 Monster. Those are the two best.
Is there a secret option C, Rob, that you're thinking of that did not get mentioned?
I'd have to go back in the Rolodex of my brain.
We're gonna do it. That's an off-season project. We're gonna do that together.
Yes.
I'll listen to that podcast. I'll comment in the comment section. Sure, why not?
We're not doing that for listens. We're doing that just because we're bored.
Okay. Rob, tell the people where they can find you.
You can find me on Hometown Ghost Stories. Last night we had Bridget Marquardt from Girls Next Door. She's been on Curb Your Enthusiasm. She was on our show. She has a show called Ghost Bunny, and we're gonna probably do an investigation with her in the future. So just go check out that episode and more Hometown Ghost Stories.
TJ?
agentsofandom.com, wherever you get your podcasts, on YouTube, on socials, Agents of Fandom. We are having like a lot of shows right now. We are just this week already. We broke down the first 2 episodes of Pluribus on Apple TV Plus, just Apple TV, no Plus anymore. They got rid of the Plus on Apple TV. New Vince Gilligan show from the creator of Breaking Bad, Better Call Saul. Really, really interesting show. We're going to be talking about that every week. I am almost done my Stranger Things rewatch. I'm halfway through season 4, almost there, and we are going to be doing like a recap episode for that, followed by our weekly, every once in a while Stranger Things breakdown when they're dropping new episodes. I'm going to see the new Running Man tomorrow night. We're going to have a show for that on Friday. Wicked for Good, the new Knives Out, new Avatar movie, Percy Jackson, Stranger Things, lots of great stuff.
Daigle?
EstablishTheRun.com, the podcast feed you can look to for waiver wire, rest of season top 150. Not as exciting as touting Phil Maffa last week. It's week 11. We're running out of moves. My move to make for the rest of the season is don't make moves. Like, we're all happy. We're good. Your team's set for the playoffs. So, yeah, establish the run.
I felt bad for waiver dudes this week. Ray does it for us, and it's like so much effort on Sean Tucker was expounded on. It's like
we had to talk about how he has 2 less carries than Rachaad White without Bucky Irving. We had to talk about it.
I feel like the waiver wire is pretty thin this week.
It's the time of the year where I'm writing about the same guy 3 weeks in a row, 100%.
Also, if you play in FFPC, man, like I think they have to shorten benches in FFPC.
That's my argument. That's what I keep. So I actually wrote them an email, Rich, because there's no more strategy after drafting because their benches are too deep. You should force managers' hands and make them cut players they're otherwise holding on to. Even Phil Maffa is rostered right now. Tyler Bidet is rostered right now. Like, it's not worth it. Just you got to make 4-person benches. Make people hold.
How deep is the bench? If not 4 people, how deep is it?
It's 9 players, right, Rich?
Oh,
Yeah, 9.
Deep.
It's too deep.
You can basically roster every third running back is owned in the league.
Yes. I roster Elijah Royal and Terrence Ferguson because it's that kind of league where it's like, yeah, I guess so.
Oh yeah, and every third tight end is rostered.
Dude,
because of the tight end
it's
premium.
ridiculous. They got to shorten benches, or I want them to eliminate a bench spot every week. So like week 2, eliminate 1 bench spot and just keep on going until you have no bench spots.
Did you just create a new game? Does that game exist?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. In my head, it's fun.
Rich, where can the people find you?
Sharp Football. Over there. It's free week. You can sign up for free week. Go check that out. Read all the stuff that I wrote this week and then just cancel at the end of the week so you don't get pinged. Well, this is the thing, because if you see I don't fully promote, and I am saving this for the end of the show. This can get cut if you want, or whatever. I don't really promote it because it's one of those things where they try to get you to sign up, and it's you get the recurring payments. So make sure you cancel too if you don't want it.
I love
just go read the stuff and then cancel it.
We are live, so I won't be cutting it.
I love that bit, though. But if you like it,
I like to be transparent about that because no one likes to be, no one wants, we've all signed up for something and then you get pinged. You're like, oh, I didn't cancel that, and you get pinged for something. You're like, I don't want to pay.
Fine print. We all
you're like, I don't want to pay for that. I just want to remind everyone that it comes the next Sunday after I win you the $1 million to cancel.
Can't afford it. $40 going forward or whatever it is. All right. For Rich, for Daigle, for Rob, for TJ, for Morris Stroud, I was Dean. Go win some money this week. We're out of here. Oh,